Hey everybody, how's it going? It's your boy Marvelo the Sage here on the Chameleon podcast. And today I have with me my boy Carter
Yellow.
and my main angry man Chase.
Emphasis on the fucking angry.
It's good to have you guys here.
We had we had some
Yeah,
technical difficulties earlier.
and Chase was not having any of that bullshit.
No, he was not. But hey, we got everything working here. It's gonna be nothing but laughs, shit talking, and you know, good old knee slapping and whatnot. All right.
Hold on, I'm looking at this picture you sent to the group chat, and I want to know, that's supposed to be you, right? Like looking at the phone while I'm raging out. Is that what that's supposed to be?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a picture of a guy just crushing his phone out of pure anger.
It wouldn't have been for me. It wouldn't have been my phone. It would have been like my laptop because I'm like, you whore. I know I've gotten you to work before. Why do you do this to me? Like I know I know I've done voice chat through my laptop before because when we did that Among Us when we were playing Among Us, that's how we did it. But then when I was trying to create a Steam account and you guys all saw me losing my fucking mind over that,
I remember that.
I
Like,
feel bad.
dude, I think I grew an ulcer from that. I'm not sure because like it was. I was literally doing everything I was supposed to do, and it was just basically, nah, homie, you ain't a human. You didn't correctly identify the crosswalk. I'm like, suck my dick, you piece of shit.
Yeah, I feel bad for you because it seems like whenever we do anything technology related, nowadays that we're all, separated, that like just always the worst thing happens to you, and we have to like we're patiently waiting while you're just slowly just building up the anger.
You know, a little bit. Let's not. Like, I'm kind of just like, I wish I wasn't so mad all the time, but that's just honest.
I remember like me and Jade were like getting mad too because we were like, it's the fucking crosswalk because we had the crosswalk one too. We were like, we are human? Why are you doing this?
I know. And I'm
it,
sitting here
it,
like, see, it's not just me. It's not just me. It's everybody.
I just thought it was funny because and then I figured it out that all you had to do was not log into Steam using the Steam app, but was to go on Google or whatever internet browser you have. We all know it's Google, but like, just going into Steam's website and then signing in there, and then it was like, oh hey, it works. Like you don't have to do any captcha, picture password crap.
I was super bummed out in the end because I'm just sitting here like, bro, I could have been playing with the homies, and I only figured it out at the very end when everyone was done. I'm like, this is some bullshit.
So, so one of the topics I want to talk about you guys is talk about with you guys is old school
I mean, I'm
cartoons.
cool with talking about me. What you saying? Oh, old school cartoon.
hmm So,
Shit.
old school
That's
cartoons
Sweet.
and the impact they had on you and your art life.
my art life. Okay.
You know,
Uh,
what
I
inspires you
gotta kind of
basically.
think about this. Oh, so like, just Carter, do you want to go first? Because I'm trying to formulate my words here. I was not
Oh, with
prepared for
like
this.
TV shows, I mean, a lot of TV shows have like influenced either my art, either when it comes to like artwork and my art style, or just like the kind of humor, or like, just in general, what like if as a storyteller, what I would like to how I would like to tell my stories. Um, Clearly, as a you know grew up in like late 90s, mainly 2000s. You know, a lot of shows like SpongeBob and like, um, like Camp Lazlo and that stuff was always on. Um, Always found those hilarious. But I would say the one that really grew to be my favorite just like humor wise, and really like kind of brought out just the very like dark, if you will, dark humor, would be Billy and Mandy. Like, minus all the dumb like Billy picking his nose or like, poop jokes, but like just the dark humor of like, oh yeah, I'm the Grim Reaper and I just gotta, kill this guy,
Yeah.
because that's my job.
Man, we were watching an episode of Billy and Mandy a while ago, and okay, so like Carter, you told me not to think too much about this episode, but I did. Is when Grim fell in love with that goth chick, and like she didn't know that he was the actual Grim Reaper when he's legit talking bones and shit, and I was just like, this makes no sense. And you're like, don't overthink it. But what were you trying to say, Chase?
Well, I'll add on to what you just said. I think a lot of those old school cartoons, the whole thing behind them is don't overthink it, because none of it makes any goddamn sense. Like, are you kidding me? Dexter's Laboratory, this kid who's like, 9 years old, has his own laboratory, and he's a super genius, and he builds shit all the time. Don't think too much on it. SpongeBob SquarePants. Don't think too much on how a literal sponge that you would find in your kitchen sink is somehow walking and talking and living a sentient life at the bottom of the sea. I feel
right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where a lot of humor, it's just like the basis. I'm not talking about like dark humor, like a lot of humor for a lot of us in general. 'Cause a lot of us, we make stupid jokes and then we just go, fucking don't think too much on it. I feel like that's where a lot of that started for us, or at least it did for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would say in terms of like old school cartoons, I don't really think they inspired an art style in me per se. I would say it did inspire a lot of the things that would interest me and eventually would become part of what I would try to draw or what I would try to make myself. Like one of my favorite shows growing up, like Carter, I think you probably loved this too, was Scooby Doo. Right? Like everybody,
Woo.
I don't know a whole lot of people who didn't like. It's one of those shows. It kind of it kind of started like the basis in a sense. Like I don't like if I'm ever writing something or if I'm trying to conceptualize a new story idea, I don't like the single lone protagonist. I like to have like a group, kind of like a team or a group of friends together. And I think that's where like Scooby-Doo kind of started that.
Yeah, the friend dynamic.
Yeah, because
right.
After Scooby-Doo, it was Jonesy and Pussycats, Jabberjaw, and it's just like it splintered off into Archie eventually, with Archie and his friends, and then what was it, Captain Caveman and his friends. Like it just kind of splintered off into multiple things, and it kind of bled into Japanese culture with like them doing teams of 3 or 4.
I was gonna say, like, in terms of like the old school cartoons didn't really influence my art style, but my art style didn't become, I don't know the right word, when you continuously do the same thing in a row. I'm trying to think of the word. I guess consistent. There it is.
Yeah.
My art style became more consistent once I started going to college, because you guys know I grew up in a small ass country town, and like growing up, I really wasn't allowed to, like you guys grew up with shit like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Yu Yu Hakusho. I grew up with NASCAR. That doesn't really inspire an artistic expression. It's like, oh wow, he's making another left turn. He's making another left turn. You can go to commercial break, don't worry, because you're not going to miss a fucking thing. So like that's what I grew up with. My art style became more consistent once I came to college and I met all you guys, and you guys got me hooked on anime, and I started watching all that, and I just really liked the whole manga art style in general, like the basis for it. And that's kind of where my art style kind of came. I know I said kind of like 32 fucking times there.
I mean, that's fine. Like, honestly, I remember when I gave you a list of stuff to check out, and you were just like, well, a lot of this sounds stupid, but I'll give it a try.
Right.
I think
hold on a second.
Go ahead. Hello.
Uh, hold on a moment. I'm sorry, guys.
No problem. Take your time. Take your time. Skip bop beepity bop skip bop beepity bop.
Yes, sorry, my headphones died. My headphones died on me.
That's fine. We can still hear you. Like you kind of sound a little bit clearer now too.
Yeah, that might be awkward.
That's fine.
But anyways,
Go
back
ahead. Go ahead.
back to my point. Like, anime, as weird as it sounds, it kind of influenced my art style, and I would say my writing style too. Like, there aren't a whole lot of shows from my childhood that I remember watching that I was allowed to watch that I could think of that really influenced my art style. But there was one in particular, well, not art style, my aesthetic, I guess. Anyone ever watch SWAT Cats?
Oh yeah, that was a classic, man.
I remember watching SWAT Cats as a kid. Like, man, I don't like cats, but these dudes are cool. Like, I was so into it.
I was too. Like
And I,
it was so weird. Like seeing it though, it was just like, wow, these cats are like badass. But it's like a lot of these civilians are dying.
like Carter was talking about dark humor. Let's talk about dark subject matter in a children's cartoon. They were literally getting bombs. Like terrorists were literally blowing up Mega Cat City, and the SWAT cats are like high fiving at the end of the day. Like, yeah, we beat the bad guy. It's like cool, but there's a body count the size of Texas right now.
Exactly. And I think that's where that whole "I don't think about it too much" came in, because it's like you notice all like the horror of like just everything below after the show's done, and you're like, wow, a lot of people died.
you really it really is like that though. It's one of those it's obviously like just don't think too much about it, not because it doesn't make sense, but because it will fuck you up for the rest of your life to think about all these people who died while rock and roll was playing in the background and the bad guy who hit the asses kicked.
You know what? You know what cartoon villain I really felt bad for? Mojo Jojo.
Who was the
Mojo.
dude, he get his ass beat every episode. Sometimes I think there were episodes where they literally just sought him out to beat his ass, and he did nothing wrong.
Oh yeah, like the episode where he was just trying to get eggs to make breakfast.
I mean, to be fair, if I saw a fucking green monkey with his brain exposed in a weird ass top hat tube thing, I'd probably want to beat its ass too. I'm like, all right, that's creepy. Get away from me.
I am just a civilian.
Not today, you're not. You gonna get these hands. Fucking insane.
Like, I remember when
Yo,
what's up? Hello? Carter?
hello?
I hear Chase. Is Carter? Are you still there, bro? Did we lose Carter?
Is Carter dead?
Carter?
Carter.
Carter.
We're gonna have to edit this out.
If it's funny enough, I will keep it in.
I don't know if this is funny. Like, Carter is kind of MIA, and I'm slightly concerned. What if he had a hankering for a bagel and just left halfway through that conversation?
Carter, you're not choking on a bagel, are you? Oh, he's muted.
Why is he muted? Who muted him?
I
didn't mute him.
I didn't mute him.
I'm trying to understand. I don't think anybody in here is muted.
I don't know. Either way, if I'm feeling like it, I'll edit it out. If not, I'm just gonna keep it in because we need an hour anyway. So since it's just me and you right now, wait, say again, Chase.
Fuck. Someone message Carden.
So
because he hasn't responded. Like, is he he sent me a message, so I don't know if he's okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can just right now. I get hold of it. Hold on. Where?
I cannot find my phone.
That's not good.
Technical difficulties.
How am I how am I currently the only one here talking to you when I had the biggest grief before? I just messaged him like, yo, dude, you good? Where the hell are you at? And I'm like, please tell me this man is not dead.
Oh, man. went somewhere. I think he's gonna come back later. So since it's just me and you for right now, how do you?
Hello?
Oh God!
Hello?
Oh, it's
Hello?
shit.
I was
Get back.
clapped. I got clapped, guys.
What do you mean you got clapped?
He got sent to the gulag.
I died.
What is that? Oh no. You died? Why'd you die? Hold on. What happened?
Oh no, I was like talking, and then you guys were talking over me, and I was like, "Ah, shit." Well, I guess I died.
Yeah, we didn't hear you. You didn't say anything. You didn't say
I was like, it's something with Discord because like everything was picking up on my mic, and I was even testing it and everything, and like it was testing well, but for some reason, yeah, it just wasn't picking up in the chat. So, well, anyways, continue the conversation after I died and got resurrected by the Dragon Balls.
Also, we were talking about how
Shit.
Tupac, ran for president and didn't work out well, and how we're, in a Harambe less humanity right now, basically.
First of all,
Yeah.
that is
Well,
not
anyways, with the cartoon shows, I mean, the best thing about not having to really worry about what's going on is it's a cartoon. Like, I think that's my favorite thing about like Tom and Jerry. Was like clearly these cats, like they lived in like multiple different houses with different like families and all that crap, and like you didn't really need to think about it because at the end of the day, it's just for your entertainment. We don't have to worry about how a cat knows how to use a shotgun and is chasing after a mouse who just chucked a bowling ball at his face. Like,
Yeah, Jerome
not
was out for
forget
blood.
the mouse's name is Jerome.
yeah,
Like,
Jerome.
he fucking
Jerome.
I remember as a kid, I remember saying like, Tom is just fucking minding his own business, and Jerry is being a massive pile of shit for no reason. I'm like, that really fucked up your whole childhood when you just like, wow, Tom really wasn't doing anything wrong.
I mean, look at Bugs Bunny. Like Elmer Fudd wasn't hurting no. Well, it's hard to say with Elmer Fudd. Like he was hunting animals, so maybe Bugs just wasn't having it that day, and was like, "Let me make this man's life hell." But then that doesn't explain when Bugs went directly to his home, and then just like decided to like blow up his house.
I mean,
See, there's a difference between Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny and all of his cast members. Tom and Jerry, they're the best frenemies. Like they'll be best friends, but they'll also, have beef with each other, but still be cool. But Bugs was a total jerk, and like every single like iteration, he was always smug about something and always like caused some kind of mischief.
That is
yeah,
true.
it's one of those things where you realize, wow, Lola Bunny really has low standards. Honestly,
It just sounds like Bugs is like your modern day fuckboy.
he kind of is though, isn't he? He's the modern Chad.
He's Kevin from Ed and Eddie.
So, with cartoons, do you guys feel as if making them into live adaptations will always just be a fail?
It really depends on the execution. I mean, when
Yeah.
you look at it's like if you look at like Space Jam, there are a lot of people who hate that movie, but I feel like there are a lot more people who fucking love that. So I feel like they are you talking about live action in the sense that it's a CGI like rabbit that's walking around?
No, I mean like
Sonic the Hedgehog.
no,
2D characters. Now
No, I mean like taking actual cartoon shows and turn them into like live action. So like how they're doing the Powerpuff Girls and the Winx Club.
Well, okay, so Powerpuff Girls really only works as an animated series, in my humble opinion. It was a show. It was a silly show meant for kids, and it wasn't ever meant to be anything dark and gritty and serious. I mean, you look at Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. There's some serious dark undertones, so there's obviously a lot of things you could do by making that a live action TV series on like Netflix or some shit. You got a lot more freedom. Powerpuff Girls, I don't think you're going to be able to take it seriously.
Most definitely.
I just don't think you can.
Well, I'm no longer a age demographic, for that. So, if they make it and it turns out okay, then more power to them. It's like I mean, you brought up the Sonic movie. Like, I for one never was like a big fan of Sonic, but I went to the movies with you, Chase, to go see that, and it wasn't that bad of a film. I mean, like, it could have, like, I don't, like, people, it could have been better, but, like, I mean, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. What else could you do with it?
Every single movie in history existence could have been done better to some extent. Like, hindsight's always 2020. But if you went into that movie expecting, like, Oscar nominee worthy type shit, you were out of your goddamn mind. Like, you gotta have the expectations of a foreign prince who's, like, damn near ready to take the throne. If you're going to see a movie like Sonic the Hedgehog and you're hoping that, like, it's going to win the Academy Award for Best Feature Film, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, that's the thing I can't stand. Like, people who have such high expectations of certain movies that they go in. Like, when I was a kid, I went and saw Transformers, like the very first Michael Bay Transformers, in theaters, and I absolutely loved it. I didn't find out that people despised it until I was in, like, 7th grade. I was like, oh, wow, you all hate this movie. That's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Fuck me for liking it.
Dude, like, I was the same way with the X-Men movies. I thought, like, as a kid, you think, oh, these are the greatest things ever made. And then later find out everyone loved X-Men 1 and 2, but thought 3 was an absolute piece of garbage.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, to be fair, X-Men 3 had some really awkward moments in it. I know for a fact people still, like... I don't really know how I would personally describe it. I remember watching it and being kind of bummed out. I'm like, really? This is what's happening? Okay, I guess. Right?
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre to watch.
But
You didn't understand that either?
I didn't understand that. Was that human?
I said it was kind of bizarre to watch. Like they did all these things and had no payoffs, and it just kind of led into, like, more sequels, right? Like X-Men Origins Wolverine, probably one of the most hated comic book movies, next to what was it? The
I feel
Spirit.
like that movie is fun.
It gave us Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson. That's all I'm going to say.
That's the only good thing to come from that, honestly. A lot of the hate for that movie is aimed primarily at Wade Wilson and what happened to him in that movie. I feel like that's where a lot of the rage, like, towards it.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Yeah, the big nerd rage definitely came in from that. So this kind of leads into my next topic too. Comic book movies. When is too much enough, and when is more, and when is more acceptable?
I don't really know, honestly. I feel like with comic book movies, if you choose a specific continuity, like you choose a specific storyline that, I'm trying to think, like, maybe Deadpool's Secret Invasion, like that movie or something, that story, and you can adapt that into maybe 1 or 2 movies. That's cool. But, like, in general, like, just constantly rebooting the same series over and over again, doing different things repeatedly, like Spider-Man, we've seen that origin story fucking.
How many times does Uncle Ben have to die? Uncle Ben!
Peter.
And it's the same thing with, it's the same thing with Batman. Like, every Batman movie, animated or otherwise, you always have a scene where his parents are getting killed. Like, okay, we get it. He's an orphan. I don't know. I feel like that, after a certain point, is a little too much. Like, if it went for 10 years and we didn't get a single Batman movie, and then we had a new Batman movie and they had his parents being killed in that, I'm like, okay, cool, I can work with that. Because it's been 10 years.
Right.
It's not like they're making the same Batman movie over and over.
And I think that's where the line is kind of like drawn, at least for me, where like, like at least with the superhero, like at least comic book movies that, I know about, obviously Marvel and DC. I like both Marvel and DC. I really don't have like, which one's better. I don't care. But I would say at least the Marvel Cinematic Universe was fleshed out better,
Oh yeah.
clearly, while DC is having trouble deciding who they are and where they want their characters to go. So it's kind of rough seeing those movies, at least for me, because it's like they're rebooting Batman, again, and like, oh, it's a Batman from a different universe, and it's like, oh, that's okay, but like it's still something, at least from a regular like media consumer who isn't like the super craziest comic book fan. Like you just kind of look at it and like, so another Batman film, another Spider-Man film. This is kind of a lot, and the story's not going anywhere. So you just kind of, yeah, I don't know. I prefer, if you're going to make a lot of movies, at least plan out ahead of time where you want that franchise to go.
Yeah.
Instead of just making a movie and then making an unwanted sequel.
Right.
See, that's always like that's kind of tough though, because some movies like they want to set up an extended universe, they want to set up another movie.
Oh yeah,
but the first one doesn't.
Hard.
Well,
not Monster,
right.
not Monsterverse, the Dark Universe. My bad. The Universal thing.
I actually was kind of hyped for that. I'm like, I kind of want to see what they do with the Wolfman now. I mean, because they brought in Dr. Jekyll and what was it? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which was kind of cool, but at the same time, I was like, okay,
It
that's
went nowhere.
interesting, I suppose.
Yeah,
it really did. It really did.
Like from what I've noticed about starting an extended universe is you need one person in the pot. Keep the studio execs out because they'll be like, make it like Marvel, and then it's just doomed from right there.
I think a lot of people, when they try to start a cinematic universe, they keep looking at Marvel. Like, let's do what Marvel did. It's like that doesn't really apply for anything outside of comic books, though.
Exactly.
Like the Dark Universe, the cinematic universe. I don't really think they had a chance with that, like, at all.
Right. There's more to it just being do it like Marvel. It's like I said, yeah, if you want to have a series, plan ahead, but still, kind of like what you said, Chase, like at least have your first movie, end in a way where like if we aren't able to make a sequel, it's still good.
Yeah, I think a good example of that would have been the first Godzilla movie from 2014.
Oh, definitely.
Gareth Edwards, the director of that movie, said what we really wanted to do was we wanted to leave the ending be something sort of like, yo, there's hope for another sequel, but everything's wrapped up in a neat little bow, like everything tied off. So like if there isn't another sequel, you get this story and then that's it. So that's kind of what they did, and it worked out for them in the long run, I guess.
Oh yeah, because Kong versus Godzilla was pretty decent.
I would say it was more than decent, but that's just me, honestly.
Because it was a good movie.
Like, it just felt like there was so much more to it, and like I watched this interview where like apparently there was more to the movie. It was just cut out because they weren't sure if the movie would make enough money for a sequel. So like
yeah, well, I think
like Kurosawa's son was supposed to come back.
Yeah, Serizawa's son. Originally, they had a whole backstory for him. I think this is what I read. I'm not 100% sure. I did read it on a fucking Facebook article, so take it as you will. But originally, his character's whole intent with Mechagodzilla was to be able to fight alongside Godzilla and not against him. so he could continue the legacy his father was trying to build of coexisting with Godzilla and all the other Titans.
That's where
And-
Chichiguara comes in.
So yeah, I guess there's obviously a lot of different ways they could go with that movie or that series, that franchise. So I'm excited to see if they do, because I mean, it's entirely possible they don't. Because I mean, you can ask any anime fan. There's a really good anime that has a great first season, and then you look for the second, and it does not exist.
Like
yeah, or just sucks completely.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some that are Redo of Healer, obviously, is complete gutter trash and should be burned in a vault 1,000 feet under the ground. But,
Agreed.
I don't know if you want to talk about this, Angelo, because it just came out, but the new Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh, I have I have so many feelings on that movie, man.
Like, the cinematography was decent, especially like the first 7 minutes was like really good.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I would say I was a little underwhelmed. You know, again, it's Mortal Kombat, so like I'm not expecting much, but yeah, it definitely felt very in the middle.
Like honestly, Chase, the movie would kind of piss you off.
I haven't seen
for what
it, and
they
I
did
don't think
to, Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chase.
I don't know if I will see it, because I mean, they kind of revealed what happens to Reptile in the trailer, and I was like, all right, they're gonna do my boy dirty like that. Y'all can suck my nut.
Oh yeah, they
suck my dick.
Well, Shay, since you're not going to watch the movie, I'm just going to tell you, like, Kano pretty much rips out his heart.
Well,
yeah.
Spoilers, bro. We're not going to put spoilers in this.
I mean,
no, it's not really.
I mean, if you haven't seen the movie by this point, you know it's too bad. Plus, this is being released on Sunday or Monday.
It's not really a spoiler though, because it happens in the fucking trailer. Like,
oh yeah, it did,
bro. That's why I was so not interested. I'm like, really? You're gonna reveal what happens to a classic Mortal Kombat character so fucking nonchalantly in the trailer? You can suck my dick from the back on a Tuesday. Fucking asshole.
Well, technically, and you know, I don't know like all the lore of Mortal Kombat, but they didn't necessarily call him Reptile. They called him by whatever race he is, and they said a name, and I don't know Reptile's actual name, but he wasn't wearing the Reptile ninja garb. He was just a naked crocodile man, you know? So, like...
And I mean, that's enough.
So, if they do make a sequel, Reptile could totally be in it if they decide to just be like, hey, there's another Reptile, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for all we know...
but that's if this movie gets a sequel.
Right. Like, for all we know, Chase, that could have been Chameleon with a K.
Chameleon.
His real name is Sizoff.
Oh, that could have been it. Oof. I don't remember his real name, so
I just call him Reptile.
If that's what they called him in the movie, then they absolutely just killed off a classic Mortal Kombat character in the first fucking movie nonchalantly.
Well,
dude,
that's not the only character, but I'm not gonna spoil. But
I'm not gonna watch it, but yeah,
I know. But just for the audience, I'm not gonna spoil. But like, there was quite a few characters that just like.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, okay, why did you even introduce them if, you know, but it's Mortal Kombat, so like what do you expect? But,
that's
true.
Like it's like how you gonna bring in meat?
Someone's got to die.
Yeah, so it's like how you just gonna bring in meat, the best character ever made, and then just kill him.
Yo, were the Bikini Ninjas back? That movie can suck my.
I mean, Melina was thick for no reason in the movie, and I was just like entranced by that ass. I'm like, what's going on here?
I had no idea why she was in the movie though. Like, I don't know, but that's another thing where I was just like,
it was loosely based on the first.
There's a lot of I know. I was like, there's a lot of characters,
and like it's weird because like in the first game it was literally just Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Sonya, Kano, and Raiden, right? Oh, Shang Tsung, Johnny Cage. And in this movie, we had like just randomly picked characters, and it was just so weird. it was my thing is this. The beginning of the movie felt like it was directed by a completely different person, and the rest was done by like 20 different directors. Because like everything was just so out of place and edited weird.
Right. Like the first like 10, 11 minutes, it like felt like, yeah, this director knows what he's doing. And then afterwards, it just felt like, you're like a CW TV show.
Like honestly,
no diss on CW, but like, it definitely felt like the budget dropped.
Like, okay, Chase, so since you're not going to watch it, you remember the movie Never Back Down?
Yeah.
That's
I remember that movie.
Literally 7 minutes after the scorpion scene, that's basically what it turns into.
Jesus. All right.
I'm like, okay, so are we going to play fucking Never Back Down the song now? Or I'll take you on.
Fucking might as well. Right?
And like
Cole,
and fucking like Cole the character, I didn't have a problem with him, but I had a problem with him. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if you wanted to get more into it, yeah, I mean, some of the characters just felt bland, and again, it just happened that like this is a single movie, and we're trying to introduce all these classic Mortal Kombat characters and some new characters, but without really giving them backstory, unless if it's just like a really short exposition, like, yeah, I served in the military for 6 years or whatever, and then then it's like, okay, that's cool. So why are you here?
Yeah, like one character I was excited to see in the movie was Cabal, and the Carter's right. I really should be spoiling the movie the way I am, but I'm not. But it's just I'm a
it's
little
your
upset.
podcast.
I know, but it's like I can take that into consideration now. Damn. But okay, so long story short, I'm a Cabal fan, and he was kind of cool in the beginning with his costume design, but in short, he was just a mustache twirling villain at the end. I'm like, well, that's not how you should be.
He did feel like your like basic like Power Rangers villain, where like he was just talking mad shit, but like didn't really
do anything
up all that much. Like, I was waiting to see some of those combos that he uses in like I think it was like MK9, where like he like basically like meat hooks people and like spins them around and slams them on the ground. But like I don't think he did that once.
Nope.
Like
I will say they did Liu Kang and Kung Lao justice. I'll give them that. I will give them that. Because Liu Kang actually felt like Liu Kang.
I suppose. I never saw it, so I haven't seen it. Probably won't.
It's fine. All right, so. Oh wow, it's been 36 minutes only. Okay, guys, we're still decent. We're still decent. So.
Keep it going, baby.
Oh, I am. We're going for the long podcast today. We're going 12
I'm
hours.
gonna drink me a Red Bull. Woo.
I'm gonna drink me a Red Bull. You said.
Yes, sir. Gonna get me my moonshine and Red Bull and be flying to the moon. Let me stop. All right, so this one, I'm sorry, Chase. I know the conversation was just like, okay, they're talking about Mortal Kombat. I'm literally never going to watch this movie. so I'm
whatever needs to be.
So this one kind of falls with all of us. The Art Institute. I've talked to RJ about the Art Institute. I've talked to Will about the Art Institute. So I want you your guys' like take on like how did they do you dirty?
Well, I was fortunate enough to be able to graduate before they started doing people dirty.
Same.
Yeah, I don't know. I think them being so, I guess, like shady about the entire thing did a lot of people dirty. Like, oh no, kids won't be getting kicked out of housing. 2 months later, you guys gotta fucking find a new place to live, bitch. Like,
Yeah, I think that was the only rough thing for me that I can remember. Like, I'll say this about the Art Institute. I met a lot of great people there, a lot of great teachers and colleagues.
Oh yeah.
It just was everything else that had to deal with, like, how the Art Institute was being run was, not the best. And I feel like, as someone who's heard from a lot of people who are, teachers, a lot of higher up people tend to, like, have a lot of discourse in their, groups. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like go ahead, go ahead.
I guess the other part that I was really not a big fan of is I remember we had a career services was that her role? I can't remember, but her one of her responsibilities was after we graduate, she was supposed to keep in contact with us and kind of help us find potential job leads. That was one of her responsibilities, or at least that's what it was. I was led to believe, and I can understand with the school kind of shutting down that she no longer had that responsibility. But I just remember thinking the school, like after I graduated, the school kept going for a couple of months, and I never got a single call from her at all. And I remember thinking, fuck, that actually really does piss me off. Because I'm still, I was working where I'm currently working at the time and hating every goddamn second of it. Still am, ironically, or unironically, I guess is the better term. And it would have been real nice to have someone there who kind of understood I was an entry level type of guy, type of artist, and I was really looking for a job that was like that to kind of help me get into the industry. And nothing came from that. I just remember thinking, wow, that kind of fucking blows. Like it was a giant middle finger to me, I guess.
Most definitely. Like, you guys already knew my situation with the Art Institute and all the stuff that happened. Like, if you don't know, check out the previous episode. I talked about it already. But, yeah, it wasn't a good look.
I remember those days. Those days. I sometimes people ask me what it was like in college, and I'm usually just like, well, there were no good times. It was like we didn't have Cheerios, we just had O's. That was it. Like, oh, all right. This is for the morning. Oh, like that. That's kind of how it was,
Yeah.
That we didn't have milk. We used our tears. That's how we ate. It was a really really fun experience.
I mean,
You ever
like,
had
like whenever we did have fun, it was outside the schools, either at the apartments or just goofing around, like outside
Yeah.
of it. And like honestly, I'm grateful
There
for
were
going, but it was just like, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chase. I didn't
yeah.
mean to cut you off.
I would never call it a waste of time by any stretch of the imagination. I learned
Yeah, no.
things that I don't think I could learn anywhere else, and I continue to take those with me to this day. And obviously, I'm still close and still tight with a lot of you guys that I went to school with. I kind of wish I was a little tighter with some of my instructors, but sometimes shit happens, and you just got to roll with it as best you can.
Like a lot
Still
of
talk to
people,
a few of them on Facebook.
yeah, like Kenan, he's on Facebook. Shouts out to Kenan, by the way. Great guy.
If you're listening,
What'd you say?
I can't wait for him to fucking. I said if you're listening, I can't wait for him to like message me and say you just lost 10 points for assuming I wasn't listening. Oh shit.
Honestly, I would love to have
That's
him on the on here and talk about like you know physics. Like I'm not gonna understand it, but like it would be cool to
You wouldn't want him to talk about physics because you would just be sitting there like, what does that mean? And he would just be like, that's cute, and keep going.
yeah. Like
You-
I love that about him. It was like he's like, look, either way, you may not understand it. You're still gonna listen.
Yeah, him and Frank had a kind of a funny bromance going on. That was always funny.
I love Kenan.
I
Like
said funny three.
I really loved Kenan and Frank. Like, to me, they were like, just outstanding guys because Kenan helped me stay in school longer, and Frank, helped motivate me through all that stuff that was going on. Oh, you know what? Shouts out to Travis if you guys remember Travis. Like, great,
I
great,
remember
great,
Travis.
great instructor. He was freaking great.
Really talented player.
Oh yeah,
That dude also reviewed metal albums for a magazine too as a side job.
nice. Shouts out to
Yeah,
Travis.
that I found that. Yeah, I found that out. I'm like, did you review Disturbed's album? And this is around the time I think Asylum came out. Well, this is after Asylum came out, and he had nothing but good things to say about it. I was like, that's fucking cool. Like,
He was just a really cool dude. Like he had the cool motorcycles. He had the awesome taste in music and the awesome drawings. I remember he showed. Oh! Something just happened. Something just
Carter,
happened. Carter, did you get?
Carter disappeared. I think he's back. Carter, say something.
I think he got clapped again.
Oh, he definitely got clapped. He's getting his ass cheeks clapped right now by a penguin.
Oh God.
That's why he keeps cutting out. He's currently getting butt fucked by.
Oh God.
It's clapping sound. Just
Oh,
no, please. Oh, is he muted? What? I don't think he's muted.
No, I think he's having the same issue again. Carter, buddy, if you hear us, we can't hear you.
We need you to do your thing. The mic might not be your best effort because that's what my mic. I don't have one, and my mic was pretty much being like, "No, fuck you. You don't get to work not with these headphones on, bitch."
Also, speaking of cords, your favorite cat decided to bite on my cord and like it's literally hanging on by like a thread. So I'm not sure if these will last long. Like I ordered a new one last night, and it should have been here hours ago, but it hasn't.
Yep. Y'all keep talking like Alice is my favorite cat. And it's not. It's not that I don't love Alice. It's just that I'm kind of stuck with her because she wouldn't leave me alone, and I begrudgingly had to bond with her, and I'm not a fan of that at all.
Like Alice, like you are literally Alice's favorite person, dude. She. Like honestly, whenever you're on the phone, like on speaker, she recognizes your voice.
I know, and it's weird. I'm like, Cat, why? Why you do this to me? And then I go home. I went over to your place once. I picked her up and tried to cuddle her, and 5 seconds later, all right, we done now. Go away. I'm like, well, fuck. So every relationship with every woman I've ever had is gone.
Oh God.
Even a cat.
Yeah.
Hey,
Dude, I get
Carter,
more emotional.
Carter's back. He didn't get clapped.
Carter, are you currently making love to a penguin?
No, I am not.
Oh, all right. I was
I
wrong.
haven't traveled to Antarctic yet.
You don't need to travel to Antarctica. Penguins can survive up here. Remember the macaroni penguins? Don't they live in Africa?
Oh my God.
The macaroni penguins.
That's literally all we ever called them as kids was macaroni penguins because they looked like they had macaroni growing out of their head.
All right, so we're still doing good on time. Like how much time do you guys have?
I mean, I got all night, yo.
Today's a Saturday, bro.
Yeah,
Nice.
I don't work tomorrow.
Noise.
I should have been done work earlier today.
All right, so my next question, so my next topic I want to talk about was how media affects kids and why parents shouldn't allow media to raise their kids and stop complaining about it. So this comes from something I noticed. Whenever say like a video game does something quote unquote controversial, parents are the first ones to be like, "You let my kids play." I let my kids play this game, and I was very offended on what was being done. Well, first of all, ladies, it's Grand Theft Auto, and it clearly states. Let's read it all together, everyone. Rated M for. Say it with me, fellas.
Mature.
Mature.
I thought it said. I thought it was rated M for milk.
Oh yeah, it's just pure out deli in those game cases.
I like the idea of a Grand Theft Auto taking place in a dairy store. I don't know why. Like you don't jack a car, you jack a cart.
It's Dine and Dash, the video game, except you have a gun.
I'm dishing out 5-course meals in death.
Right.
Get diabetes or get shot.
Jesus.
Get got.
This insulin and bullet.
Get fool or or get got.
It's a really dumb line of thought, and I don't know why anybody but us would find it fun.
Say it again, buddy. You kind of cut out.
I said this is a really dumb line of thought that I started, and I can't think of any other reason why anyone other than us would find this funny.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about what we were just talking about in general.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
like it popped into my head. I'm not proud of it.
I mean, that's fine. Like, honestly, I tell whoever comes on here, you can speak your mind because it's like, first off, it's going on YouTube, and what's YouTube going to do, really? It's not like anything's actually going on.
You're going to get clapped in the comments is what's going to happen. But
like 30 comments about how I'm an idiot.
But anyways, on the topic though, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. Yeah, parents should be paying attention to what their kids are playing, and yeah, they shouldn't. Yeah, my thing is, yeah, you shouldn't be blaming video games or media necessarily to for how your kids are acting. Though I do think, at least with the internet, I would kind of lean a little bit that on the other side, saying that sometimes the internet does kind of create monsters out of all of us,
True.
That.
Like the whole clout chasing thing going on right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, as a kid, I was raised. I mean, you guys kind of have an idea what my parents were like or what my dad was like.
Oh yeah.
So like, I learned. It's kind of weird, but I kind of learned about the birds and the bees way before I fucking should have. I remember Country Music TV, or CMT as it was called. It was like it was a TV channel back when people actually had cable, back in the 1940s. Country Music TV, they used to have this top 20 countdown of like the top most popular country songs of that week. And sometimes, a lot of times, it was like the same songs over and over again. Maybe a new one would get released, and that one would become more popular, and it would take the place of another. But there was a band called Sugarland, and they had a song. I can't remember the name of the song, but I know the lyrics. I remember this very, very, very clearly because it's burned into my brain, because it was the day something awoke within me. It's basically the lead singer, the vocalist. She says, "Come a little closer, baby. We can talk without the words. Leave a sign on the door that says, please do not disturb." And I'm watching that as a kid. I'm like, that's kind of catchy. I'm like 9 years old, right? I'm not thinking about what the lyrics fucking mean. But my dad, I don't know where he came from. He might have rappelled from the fucking ceiling or jumped up from the ground. And all I remember him saying is, "You know what that means, right?" And before I could respond, he got real close. It means they're going to fuck all night long. And then walked away.
I mean,
I'm like, thanks, Dad. I'm 9. Now I got to think about this. What does that mean? Like, all right, thanks, Dad.
It's just funny because I feel like every kid has had that moment, like,
I don't know.
At least with music, like, I always thought like the AC/DC songs like "Shoot to Thrill" or "Fire Your Guns," like I thought they were talking about war and shooting people, like that's what they meant. But no, they were just talking about sex and like, I think "Shoot to Thrill" was like, "I'm not wearing a condom and like I could give you STDs." Like those weren't the lyrics, but that's what was implied.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh really? I didn't really think about it that way.
It's so weird.
I was just like, ooh, pew pew.
It's so weird because go ahead.
Well, the thing about that, Carter, is you probably didn't know that when you first heard the song, like when you were a kid. It was later on when you grew up. My dad was fucking introducing me to a whole other side of the world that I didn't need to know about
Just opened that can of worms right in your face.
He didn't open it in front of my face. He ripped the can off and threw the worms in my face, kicked me in the nuts, and walked away.
Oh,
That's
God.
basically what.
That's very specific.
And then he walked up to you and said, he walked up to you and said, Santa isn't real.
Dude, I didn't found. He fucking had. No, see, that part. He didn't do that type of shit. No. I found out Santa wasn't real because I went downstairs one night because I had to go to the bathroom, and we had one bathroom in that fucking house I remember growing up in. And I saw him covering the presents, and he saw me. He didn't even try to make it look like he was covering it. He just looked at me and went, shrugged, and then walked away. And I was like, well, there goes most of my childhood. All right, cool.
Oh, man.
Thanks, Brad. So I feel like being raised the way I do, I feel like if you're going to raise your kids on any form of media, like you're going to have them be consuming any of it, whether it be music, TV, games, you need to be able to let them know ahead of time. It's like, look, this is some pretty serious shit, and if I catch you pulling this shit outside of this house or doing this, like my dad would, I would listen to Kid Rock a lot as a kid because my dad thought he was awesome, I guess. And he said, look, you can listen to this song, but if I hear you saying any of this shit, I will beat you until you are bloody. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm 8. Thanks for making me piss my pants again, Dad. I thought I grew out of this. Awesome. So, like, my dad put the fear of God in me every fucking time I watched something or if I played any games. Like, I remember one of the first games I remember playing as a kid was Predator Concrete Jungle. And one of the first scenes, one of the first things you do in that game is kill a man and skin him alive and then hang him on the wall. And my dad said, look, that's fucked up. You know that, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, cool. Don't be talking about it to nobody. And then he just left. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah. At least, like, for me, when it came to, like, video games and a lot of stuff, well, first off, I didn't get my first video game console or my first phone until 8th grade going into 9th grade. And I knew a lot of people back then, you know, kids being like, oh, yeah, I got the Nintendo, the Xbox, the PlayStation, and look at my new BlackBerry phone that I have, you know, like, you know, dating myself there. But, like, it was just like, you know, I guess, like, a part of me, because I wasn't, like, straight out the womb playing video games and crap, like, I was at least taught a little bit of, you know, the difference between, like, reality and, like, you know, the internet and, like, video games and stuff. But yeah, I remember when I first got my first console, and, like, I'm having a talk with, like, you know, it was just like a talk with my dad where it was like, you know, these video games aren't real, right? You know, and it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna bring a gun to school. Like, I'm not that kind of person, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
But, you know, some people may have to have that talk, and, you know, other people, it's like, yeah, it's not the video games. Maybe it's something else that you should be trying to pay attention to your kids about, you know, whether it's, you know, because not all the times it's, you know, the parents parenting that causes, you know, that stuff. It could just be like those kids just started hanging out with the wrong crowd of people, you know, and it, you know,
yeah,
and
I
that's how it is.
That's all very true. As a kid, I wasn't really one much for swearing. Like, I didn't swear at all because I was afraid even if I uttered the word crap and my dad found out about it, I was going to get my ass beat, and then he was going to make me take a spoonful of fucking salt or, pepper, actually. My dad used to make us eat pepper if we ever swore, said something we weren't supposed to, and like a spoonful of it, and that's just nasty.
Ugh.
I still have memories of how bad my fucking mouth hurt after I said my first swear word. But then I started hanging out with this kid I grew up with, who I'm still friends with to this day. And, like, I remember we were walking, because he used to live out in the woods further back than I did, and we're walking around, and he trips and falls, and he just goes, fuck! And I remember looking at him, and we're like 10. I'm like, oh, no, you can't say that. And he's like, why? I'm like, well, our parents will get mad. He's like, are they here? And I'm like, you're fucking right. And then like, from that point on,
It just blew your mind.
like a whole up, and I had to make sure I wouldn't swear in front of my parents. So like when I'm around my parents, I'm like, gee darn it. And when I'm around my buddy, I was like, man, fuck this bullshit. Let's fuck shit up. Like I'm just being a fucking asshole. Just being a stereotypical little.
Like I didn't start cursing until I was 14. Like it was just like you, Chase. It was just taboo for me. And then like when I started getting older and like admittedly a lot more angstier, I was like, man, fuck this school. No one likes anime.
Angsty weeb over here. No. How old are you when you're in 5th grade? That's like.
I was 5 when I was in kindergarten, but I had to do 2 years of kindergarten because I got held back. Fucking chump. 7. I'd say maybe 10 years old.
Okay, because that's probably when I started swearing, was like in 5th grade.
Yeah, I think that was around the time I did too.
Man, you guys are deviants.
Man, this fucking bullshit. Except my voice was a lot more higher pitched because my balls hadn't dropped yet.
Yeah, and then you just sound super cringe. Like I remember, my mom bought me a camera because she saw that I liked stop motion videos and that I was interested in like making my own. Like stop motion, like Lego videos or like claymation videos, and that's kind of where like my love for animation started. Was seeing other people on like YouTube when YouTube started getting big. Were making like stop motion videos, and so I wanted to do that too. But I just remember when I got that camera, I was just making like dumb videos with my friends. But like, there's like some where like you just hear these like prepubescent kids just being, look at that shit, and then I'm just like, oh my god, no! Like I look back at it and I'm just like, I need to delete all these files.
Kind of how I am.
I found
I do sound like a pretentious.
So I found a lot of my old journals I kept back in high school, and I was like, I need to burn these with fire.
Dude,
Like,
I want to take every single memory. I want to take every single memory and experience from high school that was cringy, which is like 80% of my high school and middle school career, and just light that shit on fire. Like, put that in the box with redo of Healer, just that, and then just light it on fire. Like that's it.
Chase's brain's gonna look like when all those SpongeBobs were trying to figure out what's his name.
If I could hire a psychic to help me get rid of those memories, maybe I'd be a little more confident if I didn't think like.
Yeah, but then you'll have those cringe moments again. Like if it wasn't for those cringe moments, you probably wouldn't learn that the stuff you did was cringe. Like,
it's also kind of because I'll be talking to a girl sometimes. Like I meet girls while I'm working, and I'll be talking to them, and it'll be going well, and then I'll remember something I did when I was in high school. I'll be like, "Oh my god, you're a fucking idiot! Like why?" And then it'll just ruin my confidence the rest of the day, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm just gonna go over here. Like I don't need to be over here with the adults because I clearly am not capable of functioning.
Just this man went to the kiddie table and sat by himself.
he was like, hey. I just imagine Chase hanging out with like some like toddlers. Okay, you kids don't know shit about Disney.
Just me being a little aggressive. Oh, you think? Let me tell you something. Like just for no reason.
Like that girl was probably like really interested into you, and then just before she was about to ask you your name and your phone number, like your ass just like takes a beeline straight to the kid table and is like, "I'm not worthy."
That also doesn't look.
I remember. I remember.
Chase gets the cops called on him.
I remember. Okay, so Chase, we talked about this a lot about me doing this, but Chase had ordered some food and like this pretty girl came to the door. Me being ignorant to this, I thought it was just like some random like old guy who delivers food again. So I swing my door open fast and yell, "Who's interrupting Black Dynamite's kung fu?" And then I just see her like, bye. And I'm like, oh no, what did I just do?
No, she was cute too, and I was about to talk to her, and then you kicked down the door, and I was just like, bitch. And just like,
You know, it would have been even better if you actually had an afro, Angelo, and you were like,
Bro, I had my
in like
sword.
sweatpants.
I was in sweatpants and I had my sword, dude.
all you would have needed now to be the ultimate cringy weeb neckbeard is have like a really long ponytail and a neckbeard.
Oh,
like
God.
at that point in time, just kick down the door and be like, yeah, he goes to
A
convention.
neck beard, but give him a Fu Manchu too.
Oh no.
He's chosen the way of the sword.
Actually, it's pronounced a katana.
Oh
No.
my god. I remember my
Not the
first.
worst.
Go ahead.
That was sorry, buddy. I'll defer to you in a minute. That wasn't my worst experience with a woman, though. I think God, that sounds awful when I say it like that. Holy shit. I remember this back.
It's all right, buddy.
You know what I mean, but the audience doesn't. There's gonna be a fucking cop outside my door in a couple of days. Like, hey, we want to make sure you're not doing anything weird. Let me see your search history. Like, anyway. Just call it new EDP. Anyways, I was
Oof.
this is back, we can talk about EDP later, but this is back when I first started working where I currently work. I'm not going to name drop them because fuck them. But I don't want them to get notoriety. I remember I was working in a retirement home. I work for a moving company. I could say that, and we were moving these people into this retirement home. And this really cute blonde girl comes up to me, and we're at the elevator, and I'm the elevator guy, so I'm going from the truck to the elevator. I'm taking stuff from the truck to the elevator, from the elevator to the apartment back to the elevator, and the elevator back to the truck. And I'm standing there waiting for the elevator to come up. She comes up next to me. She says hi. I say hi back. And for the first time in my life, I'm like, don't be a bitch. Talk to her. So I start talking to her. And we go back and forth. I find out she's kind of interning there, and she's in college too. I'm like, oh, that's really awesome. Like, I'm in college too, and we're going back and forth. Finally, the elevator comes by, and I'm like, well, that's my cue to leave. And she's like, oh, cool. I gotta go up anyways. So I go down. I hit the down button as the door closes. I couldn't stop it from happening, and it just came out just right there. And as the door closes, I saw her face scrunch up in disgust, and all I heard was, "Oh my god, no!" And then I was just,
This man shed his pants
yeah, I got
in the most depressing way possible.
How's that even?
Oof.
The most depressing thing. And I was just really bummed out the rest of the day. Like, just everyone's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It's not important." Me being hella fucking depressed for no reason. Well, there was, but my reason was my bad colon.
It happens to the best of us, buddy. It happens to the best of us.
I don't think it does, honestly.
I mean, when I first ever talked to Michelle, I don't think I told you guys this story. When I first met Michelle, it was in moving, and literally it went from hi, my name's Angelo, blah 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 blah, to my mom walking in and screaming, "What's wrong with this apartment? There's a hole in the wall. There's mold in the sink. Why is the screen door missing? Young lady, this is not acceptable." And I'm like, how did she notice this before I even did? And then Michelle's like, I am so sorry. So
Your mind was all a potential romance. That's what happened. Your eyes were clouded by the fog of potential romance. That's what it was.
I
Yeah,
guess,
sounds about right.
I guess, like, dude, it was just so awkward. And like, when mom left, I'm like, we need to know her. She's really nice. Like, that's all I had to say. And she was just like,
Angelo was looking in 2D while his mom was looking in 4D vision. Just omnipresent. I see all the mold.
Pain in his laughter right now, and it's sad but very, very funny.
Oh, go,
which
you
was
guess
really
first.
sad though about oh, continue.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, which was really sad about like the whole apartment agreement with the art institutes was the apartment complexes that the art institute worked with. Their apartments were really nice, but because they were they rented out a bunch of apartments for students, it was always students going in and out, and most of the time, the students really didn't give a crap. So like, there was just always when you entered some students like quote unquote dorm, but their apartment, something was messed up. There was always like just ripped up carpet or just like broken appliances, and I'm just like, man, you know if the art institutes are in debt, I can understand why.
I mean, well, the thing is, they gave us recycled apartments. Like like most places. If, for example, like say when I move out of this current apartment I have now, they're gonna like the complex. They usually hire, or at least from my experience, they usually hire a cleaning service to come in and take care of
Right.
everything. Like, and then they clean up, and then the apartment is available to rent. That wasn't what the Art Institute did for us.
Yeah, no, it was just you move in while the old student moves out. No
Yeah.
one's cleaning nothing, and the old student, if they even tell you anything about it, they'll have to pay for the damages. But half the time, I don't think anyone really paid for the damages. I mean, I think maybe our old roommates had to do that when they like screwed up the sliding glass door, because we ended up talking about that. But like, if no one brought it up,
Yeah.
nothing's going to get fixed, which was really depressing, because those apartments were actually nice if they were kept well.
Right.
Well, yours is clear proof of that, because you live in the same complex that we lived in college, and you take care of yours, and it looks good all the time. So we were basically like cows at a slaughterhouse production line. Like, they were just moving us along, no hesitation.
Oh yeah.
That's essentially
what?
Essentially what it was.
Ah. Yeah, like when I
it was just.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, because when I first moved in, the very first apartment, like, yeah, there was hole in the wall, mold in the sink. That's only because the previous guy, who we didn't like we all agreed upon this guy was a piece of trash we didn't like. I'm gonna name his name Connor, because screw that guy. He's a piece of garbage. He pretty much wrecked that place because Malik, shouts out to the homie, he was getting tired of his BS, because he hadn't because Connor was messy, and then Malik wasn't really having it. So when Malik went to go visit his parents, and he told the school he didn't want to room with Connor no more, Connor wrecked the place and just left the door open for whoever to come in, and that's essentially what happened.
Oh.
Yeah, there were some pieces of shit who used to go to our school, man. It was weird. It was weird.
It really was.
We had the one roommate who we shall not name, but who clearly wanted to smoke at one point in time, I guess. It was really weird, because he came from Indiana, and he talked about being in all these different gangs. It's like, bro, you do realize just saying you're part of a gang when you're not is good enough to get you killed in Chicago, right? Like, people will gun you down for that shit. But apparently this guy kept his mouth shut around real gangsters because he managed to keep himself alive, but whatever.
I'll tell you about that lesbian girl.
It was weird that I remember that. How mad I was as I woke up one night. I'm on the couch. I used to sleep on the couch a lot, and I had a fan blowing on me while I was sleeping. And I woke up to her grabbing the fan, pointed it on her face while she laid on the ground. And I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm sorry, man. My head's just really warm." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like, I was so pissed off, yo. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Like,
she finally put the fan up.
Like whenever you tell me
What
a
was
story,
that?
I'm like, we had air conditioning, so what you mean our head was hot?
I don't know, man. Her and that dude, our former roommate, used to bring people over, and they'd have these loud ass rap battles on the fucking balcony while I was trying to sleep. I remember the one day I was like, "Can y'all just shut the hell up, please? What are you doing? It is 3 in the morning, and I gotta go to work in a couple hours." Oh,
It's 3 a.m. All my homies are up.
apparently, yo. But it was weird that he came to that school and tried acting like such a tough guy. I'm like, yo, we a bunch of art students. You coming here trying to act tough is like me going to getting into a full football uniform, going to a pee wee football game, and naming myself the captain. Like, okay, cool, like
Yeah,
great idea.
I noticed, and I noticed whenever we had when a new semester started and new kids were enrolling, you just had to wait a few months to see who was going to stick, because a lot of the times there was either students who um, were interested in art but weren't necessarily committed to actually taking the courses, and either weren't financially ready, or just didn't take it seriously enough, which is sad, because there was some of them were talented, and then others, again, like some of the roommates or other colleagues we've had, um, not all of them were able to go through with it, because either they were just slacking on their work, which would it is always a shame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
there were definitely a couple of people like that.
yeah, there was a lot of them
I
there.
don't remember. I don't remember ever seeing that one roommate in particular actually doing anything related to the school, like at all. Most of the time, he either A, wasn't in the apartment, but I knew he was there because my PS4 would be on, and so would my TV, and music would be blasting from my PS3 in the front room. I'd be like, what are you fucking doing? God damn.
Yeah,
He
that
used to
guy was
piss
just
me off.
yeah, that guy was
Yeah, and
emotionally available.
I always kind of felt bad, not like necessarily for the students, but like for like either the parents or the family members who were helping them out pay for their college, and then they're and the person who's going to college isn't doing any other work at all. you know like, I don't know.
It
It's
honestly
just a
made
waste of money.
me mad because like I was working my butt off and then just see these guys in the lounge just screwing around playing card games. I'm like, you guys know that like we're still have a whole hour in class left, right? And they're like, oh, we're just having fun. I'm like, there's time for fun and there's time to put your money to work.
Yeah, there were times in between classes where I understood people taking a break, just chilling out in the student lounge.
Oh
But
yeah,
then there were
no,
times,
I was fine with that too. Like, we had what I really liked about the way our school was set up was there was times where, like, oh yeah, you have a whole 2-3 hours until your next class. So I was like, sweet, I can just go, chill with the homies, or you know go get some food, or just go back to my apartment and wait until the next have some breathing room,
right.
you know
Yeah.
which
But
which is definitely a lot more relaxing, especially when you have like college type homework, compared to like high school, where it was like 7 different periods and you have to go to every single class for like 8 o'clock in the morning to what, like 3. It's like, oh man. It's like,
Man, what
well,
was that
it was
one class we had at night? Do you remember what that was?
which one? I've had multiple classes at night, Angelo.
It was the one
we
with
had a
me, you,
had a
Shy, and Lionel.
Oh, that was, yeah, the class where I first met Shy and I think I met Lionel earlier than that, but I think that was a gen ed class. I believe that was not biology, but yeah, environmental biology. I think that's what that class was, and it was learning about fossil fuels and how to like clean up the planet. How much fossil fuels are you using? And then it was like, well, Carter, if everyone acted like you, the world would be dead by now.
Oh God.
I think I know what that class is. I had a different. I think I had a different slide. That class was a different slide, but I do believe I remember that carbon footprint. I remember my carbon footprint wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that great either. I remember thinking, "Oh, that sucks," and then going on to the next thing because I was in high school. We had this class, environmental science, and my teacher, Mrs. Platt, absolutely did not like me, and I want to make it very clear. I earned that. I'm not gonna lie. I was an asshole, but she always wanted us to. She wanted us to go on this thing called the Envirothon, right? And the Envirothon was not mandatory at all. It was something that only the environmental science class was going to get to do, and she did nothing to sell this to me at all. It's like you're going to go to this. You're going to go to this. We had this I think it was Highland Community College is where we would take place, and you'd basically be doing a bunch of written tests. Like that's all you would be doing, and you would be competing to see who would be the best, and there would be no actual award or any sort of gratification for doing this other than the wow, look at you kind of care about the environment. Pat yourself on the back, I guess. And I remember she tried getting me to sign a permission slip, get a permission slip signed to go see it, go to this Envirothon, and I said, I'm not doing that. She said, what do you mean you're not doing it? I said exactly what I just said. I'm not going to this stupid Envirothon. She's like, well, you have to go. I'm like, well, actually, it was you who said it's not mandatory. And she kind of lost for words. She didn't know what to say. And she goes, well, you really let your team down. And I remember very vividly saying, like, I give a damn. And from that point on, she just had this horrible disdain for me. She tried making me write like a 10-page paper instead of going to the event. And I was like, I'm not doing that either. And she was not amused at all. She did not like me. And I think she was really hoping I would fail so I wouldn't graduate. Yeah, well, joke's on her. I'm still here.
The teacher I didn't get along with. Honestly, there was only one teacher I did not get along with, and that was Fawn. I don't know what it was, what I did, but she did not like me.
Fawn, the first class I ever had at AI was with Fawn. And I remember saying, like, we were talking, it was like in between, like, it was like a break. Because sometimes we would have a break in class, like a 10, 15-minute break. And it was a very small class. So, I mean, it's not like we didn't really talk to one another. There was like fucking 7 or 9 people in that class. So eventually you're going to talk to somebody. And we were all kind of huddled in the center of the room. And this one guy was talking about, he's talking to this one girl, but she's currently seeing somebody. And I had a little bit of experience dealing with something like that in high school, kind of, part of the cringe moments I really wish I could forget. And I said, yeah, I would recommend you kind of get away from that. He's like, why? I'm like, well, from experience, I just know getting involved with a taken girl is not going to work well. And then Fawn jumps in and goes, what do you mean by taken? I'm like, well, I mean, she was in a relationship, like taken. She's like, oh, so she's an object. I never said that. Like, damn, hold up. And then I got kind of mad. I'm like, what are you trying to say right now? And then she told me if I wanted to have an attitude, I could leave. I was like, you started this. What the fuck?
Yeah. But you do have an attitude, Chase. No, I didn't really have any issues. I don't know. The class I had with Fawn, I think it was art history. It was I didn't have any. I thought it was a pretty easy class, and I think there was like a few times where like I know some people were getting upset with like doing projects, but like I don't know. It was another one of those gen ed classes where I was just kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna do the quiet Carter mode and just you know, doodle in my notebook and wait until this class is over with. Like,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Like my whole issue with her was because it was an art history too. She would put up all these slides and talk about all these artists and all these events, and then when it came toward the test, well, the note, we were allowed to, use our notes, and none of the stuff on there was about stuff we talked about. It was just like something completely unrelated, and everybody was just pissed.
well,
Like, what is
most of the what I've learned was most of the stuff that she wrote on or that was on her PowerPoint was not going to be on the test. It's the stuff she was saying. So the PowerPoint stuff was just a bunch of fluff. You just had to listen to what she said.
Here's the thing: she never
The issue
clarified
with that is,
She
well, I don't know
like
if she necessarily has to. Like, I think the issue is sometimes when you're focused on what's written on the slide, you're not exactly listening to what's being said. You got to focus on one or the other, and it's not always easy to tell which one you got to focus on. I mean, I can kind of understand not remembering what somebody says. It happens to me all the time. Even though I heard him say it, sometimes my brain just does not register it because I'm focused on something else.
That short-term memory loss or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
No. It'd be like that sometimes.
it might as well be. But I can definitely understand not remembering something someone just said to you or something that's been said to you a couple of times, because like your mind's associating something else with what you're doing, and unfortunately it's not always talking. So I can kind of understand.
Right. Well, it kind of reminds me of if you remember taking Ed's classes, Chase, because I know Angelo, you never had Ed's classes, but with Ed, yeah.
They were kind of a 50-50 toss-up in terms of what you're going to learn.
But at least when it came to the PowerPoints, he kind of did the same thing where he was like, I want you to make PowerPoints, but I don't want you to put your information on the PowerPoint. I want you to talk about it. So, and I was just like, to me, I was like, so can I just put pictures on the PowerPoint then? Like that was always like that like high school mentality where I was just like, I don't want to make a PowerPoint.
I had just done making PowerPoints for fucking 8 years straight. I get into college and that's one of the first things I got to do. I'm like, man, you gonna kill me?
Yeah, the first 2 semesters of college was just basically piggybacking off of high school, and then I feel like everything after that was just smooth sailing, and you're actually learning what you want to learn and more of the in-depth, intricate stuff.
Well, in regards to Ed's class, I mean, like I said, it was kind of a 50-50 toss-up depending on for what you were gonna learn. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I remember you telling a story about how you would be like going through a PowerPoint, someone would be up there and they'd stop. They'd have to stop because Ed would see a spelling error or he would see a letter that wasn't capitalized, and he would just go on like a 20-minute tangent about why that's a big problem. It's like, this is not what we're here for, yo. Why are you wasting our time with this? Yeah, we need to be very grammatically correct when we're trying to present our projects to somebody, but you literally could just say, hey, make sure you capitalize that next time, and then move on, and we could get this done a whole lot quicker. And
True.
It was always so weird that he would get hung up on the little
he was very old school in the way he taught things, and it was definitely trying to ingrain those like basic things into your brain that like, yeah, you need to capitalize these things, like the grammatical stuff, and like that I definitely rolled my eyes on. I know a lot of people gave his teaching methods like a lot of crap. Like they didn't like him. Though there were times where like I understood exactly what he meant. But yeah, a lot of the times it wasn't necessarily the most fun class to have, but it was something where it's like, okay, this is one of the first classes we're having in college, and I think it's, trying to like, hey, there's a difference from high school here, I'm going to get on your ass.
Fair point. But the thing is, like, when Ed actually did sit down and try and teach me something, I did learn. I mean, it wasn't always that often, but there were times where he would sit down and he would actually teach us shit, and it would stick with me because I was like, finally, this is what I'm here for. Like, goddamn. I can't remember another instructor that was just such a toss-up like that. Like Rosa, every class with Rosa, I knew I was going to come out of that class with something new. Like I would learn something, because with Rosa, it was a very hands-on type of teaching. He wasn't going to read you PowerPoints. He was actually going to walk you through shit and then make you do it on your own and figure out how to do it. I think that's why I responded better to that than I did any other form of teaching while there. It's like I was actually doing it while I was being taught to do it, so it would get stuck in my head better.
Well, that's understandable. I remember I walked in Ed's class, and honestly, I was there to annoy Chase, and he straight up asked me, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm here to motivate him and annoy him." He's like, "That's fair."
Yeah, he was like, as long as you don't disrupt my teaching, I don't care that you're here.
Basically.
I was like, yeah, come on, man, don't let this happen. This is pumping the too.
I was like,
for the second time.
I was like, heavy breathing on down Chase's neck.
Yeah, heavy breathing. Going back to when the student lounge was still a thing, there was a time, I told Linnell about this recently. I've told you guys this before, but you remember that one Tyler kid, and we were all I was in the lounge. I was just minding my own business, like looking at something on my laptop, getting ready for my next class, and I swear to God, this guy was either like he was having the hardest time eating, or this was the single greatest thing he ever ate, because all I heard behind me was like the crinkle of a wrapper and just oh. And I'm like, are you coming? What are you doing back there? Like, he was eating a Kit Kat bar. That's what was happening. This motherfucker was eating a Kit Kat bar, and he was literally finishing in his pants. Like, he ate it to completion. Like, in one. Like, what are you doing? And then I got up and left. I was like, I feel dirty. I feel like someone just caressed me. Like, I don't like this. I need to go.
Yeah, he was a very vocal student.
Not always in the best of ways.
Yeah.
Oh man. One student who I really got along with was Sean Haynes. That guy was really awesome. That guy was like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. He honestly was like one of the very mature students. Like at any class I was in, even if it was like a gen ed class, and like everyone's complaining, like he definitely would have his moments of complaining too, but he definitely was like very adult about everything, while everyone else in the class is just like, oh man, I don't want to do this. It's like Sean would be like, I don't want to do this either, but like
I'm here, let's get it done.
Yeah, let's get it done.
He also helped me kind of refine my portfolio and my demo reel. He actually gave me advice on how to fix it too. So big shout out to him for that.
Mm-hmm.
From wherever he might be, hopefully a good place. Probably one of the nicest people I ever met, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he was really nice. Like he was patient with me when I was going through the whole math thing with the school.
Wasn't he your tutor?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, like he was really patient.
A student teacher helper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was tight with a lot of the instructors, especially Rosa. Like I would go, like Rosa had some later on in the day classes, and I would go in there, and he and Sean would just be sitting there chatting. talking about like cards or Monster Hunter because Sean really liked Monster Hunter. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just be going back. You guys are bros. That's cool.
Yeah, like I remember just seeing him. He was always just like really positive and like just like nothing bothered him. And like I was like, man, that's amazing. I wish I felt like that too. And like I mentioned to him, he was like, you just gotta like try and imagine yourself somewhere where you want to be, and just take the steps to get there. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, that's a fair way. I remember I was scrolling through Facebook one day, and it was the day before he passed. He made this Facebook post, and it honestly had me all sorts of messed up. It said, "Well, it's been real, guys. See you later." And then the next day he died, and I was like, "Holy shit!" That was probably the saddest I'd been in a while up to that point. I was like, "Are you serious?" There was no way, because when I first met him, I didn't really know he was sickly at all. He had such an upbeat attitude. And he was always in a good mood. I was like, nah, this man's got something we all don't. Just pure joy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw that coming, like at all.
Yeah, it was really blindsiding. But
Yeah, we gotta hold ourselves up to a standard like that.
definitely.
Be more positive.
Yeah, that's I'm a fiery ball of rage. Have we forgotten how this podcast started out?
Well, what Carter's trying to say is, though, Chase, is that even though, yes, we do have negative emotions, we can't let them dictate our lives.
Okay, you say dictate. I say give encouragement.
Oh my god.
Just trying to have Chase's blue flame simmer down to a nice cold red one.
Cold red. That's fucked up. It is accurate. Something.
So we're close to reaching the 2-hour mark. Just giving you guys a heads up. So you guys want to keep going, or what you want to do?
It's your podcast, buddy.
Yeah, but
I'm here all night.
All right, well, then I guess we're keeping it going. So now that we're ending this pretty late, it's time to be a little rowdy. Fuck it, we're degenerates. So yeah, this is officially the
we're the Rowdyruff boys.
The Rowdyruff boys.
Degenerate hour.
I found the episode name. I found the episode name.
It's Rowdy.
Air horn.
Rowdyruff boys.
Honestly, you should split up the podcast if you get it to 2 hours. Just have a regular podcast and then just ends off with a separate podcast that's just the shits and giggles or whatever.
So,
to be fair, I had the idea of the title being the Degeneracy Hour, and not realizing any found a really, really good title for the podcast in general already.
I mean, so far
I was listening to you and Will, and I remember thinking, wow, Will is smart as shit, and he already has a really good podcast name for you. I don't think we should change it. Just leave it as the Chameleon Hour or whatever it was.
Yeah, the podcast is the Chameleon Hour, but every episode has a different name.
Oh, that's true.
So it's still the Chameleon Podcast. Just the episodes need names.
The trio of degeneracy. The Degeneracy Tea Party. Let's call it that. It's a reference to Long Horizon, in case no one noticed.
Oh my god! You've been trying to get me
Drown in My Sorrows podcast.
Oh no!
I've been trying to get you to watch Log Horizon ever since I first watched it, and it frustrates me to no end. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, and then I'm like, yeah, have you seen it? Oh no, I haven't yet.
Cause
Chase, have you watched One Piece yet?
Oh no,
One Piece?
Have you watched One Piece?
I have. You could not watch all of One Piece.
I've watched.
I'm just
600 episodes.
I have seen, I think, 50 episodes of One Piece, and was like, you know what? No.
I'm just saying right now, if you recommend me anything, I'm not going to watch it. If anyone comments in the comment section saying you should watch this, I probably won't watch it. The only way it's going to work is if you show up at my house, put that shit in the TV, and play it. Then I'll be like, oh, okay, I guess I'll watch this now.
Well, let's be very clear here. That's not always the case. Sometimes you do that of your own volition. The last time I was over there on the 11th, before we had Keisha's going away party, I literally sat down and you were the one trying to watch Testament of Sister New Devil. I didn't force you to do that. You did that.
I told you, what do you want to watch? I want to watch something dumb. And then you brought up a bunch of different names. That was one of them. And I was like, all right, let's see if we can get this show to work. And it took us like 5 tries because apparently HBO Max only has it in sub. And I didn't really feel like reading subtitles that day. So we had to like figure out why the heck I couldn't watch it on Crunchyroll until I realized, oh, my Xbox logged me out of Crunchyroll. So I had to log back in. And then it was like, oh, we're finally able to watch it. Even though around that time you called, Angelo, so like I wasn't actually paying attention to anything that was going on. It was just me glances at TV. Oh, why is this person grabbing this other person's boobs? Is like what is happening here?
Okay, so let me break this down a little bit more so I can at least defend myself here. I mentioned a bunch of titles of stuff you wanted to watch or you could watch. You eventually found that and said, do you want to watch this? I was like, I don't know, man. It's up to you. You picked. And then you clicked on it. You couldn't get it to work. And at one point in time, you're like, man, what the fuck is this? I'm like, are you signed in? You were like, and then you went to sign in, and I was looking at my phone. All I heard was, fuck you. I was like, oh, is that what the problem was, Carter? You just didn't sign in?
Oof.
Like, I was like, see, technical difficulties happens to everybody, not just me.
And I have a trouble with my passwords.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of sitting there, and I'm like, this is weird. I know it's on Crunchyroll. What is this bullshit?
I literally just watched it the other day. No.
Not the other day, no. I was sitting there. I think you mentioned something about your favorite type of anime girls were like the dark-skinned or tanned ones, and I threw out one in particular, the first one that popped to my mind, because I'm scrolling through Facebook, and one of those Facebook groups I'm a part of does like this weird waifu thing every now and then, and she was one of the characters that pops up. I'm like, all right, well, if you want one, here's one for you, I guess. That was kind of how that whole ball.
If you guys want constant waifu, check out Waifu Aesthetic on Facebook.
I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, I already have problems of like following great artists on Twitter who like, you know, some of their art can be lewd, but then they retweet stuff that's even more lewder, and I'm just like, I really didn't need this on my timeline. Like, I'm not saying your art isn't bad, but like sometimes I don't always want to just see, you know, naked people on my timeline. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I hear that. Like, there are days where I'm at work and I'm just like, we're at lunch and I'm sitting down and I'm scrolling through Twitter and it'll just randomly be fucking this person tweeted this and I'll be fucking porn and I'm like, really? Come on. And my coworker
right in front of my fruit salad. Yeah.
I get kind of mad though because my coworkers, they typically do this thing where they will leer over my shoulder and look at whatever I'm looking at and make a big fucking spectacle about it. Like, do you have an inside voice? Do you realize like I got hella mad the first time and it keeps happening. The other day it happened. I was just scrolling through Facebook. We're at fucking Portillo's, for Christ's sake, and there's like a 10-year-old kid behind me, like a 10-year-old boy with his dad, and I'm scrolling through Facebook. And Facebook freezes at the worst possible moment. And someone, I guess, that I follow, I don't remember following this person, retweets a picture of Mia Khalifa, or whatever her name is, taking her top off. And my coworker sitting in front of me goes, oh, look at those titties, out loud. And I'm like, Jerry, you fucking asshole. Thanks, David.
You shouldn't have had your phone out, bro.
I'm sitting there. I'm not going to sit there with my hands at my side because then I just look fucking weird. Like, I'd be sitting there with this.
Just twiddling your thumbs.
Like, I'd be suspicious of that dude. Get the fuck out of here. Get that dude gone. I was hella mad the rest of the day. I'm like, you fucking jackass. Nope. I just don't like people leering over my shoulder when I'm looking at something. That's why I keep my phone close to me all the fucking time. Get away from me.
Yo, you remember? You remember when we went to that art show, Chase? And me and you were sitting next to each other at it. Like the art show was at what? Not the AMC theater, but one of the Cinemarks in the town, and we were holding an art institute like art show, and Chase and I were sitting next to each other because we couldn't fit in the row with the rest of our friends, right? And next to us was this other kid. But like, I was just on my phone for a little bit, waiting for the art show to start. But then, like, I was running out of batteries, so I was like, all right, well, I probably should just not mess with my phone and only use it in case of emergencies. So I'm just kind of staring at your phone, but not trying to, like, be all up in your business. But then this kid sitting next to me basically leans all the way onto my shoulder so he can, like, squeeze in to see what Chase is looking at. And like, oh my gosh, I love Katy Perry. And I'm just like, sir, please, could you not be like, I have a bubble, please, and you kind of popped it.
I think that was Artemisian, and that was that Tyler kid I was talking about earlier. Like,
Yeah.
there was at one point I was talking to somebody, and out of nowhere, Carter grabs me by my collar on my shirt and just starts dragging me away. I'm like, what's going on? What are we doing? What are we doing? He's like, he's right there. He followed me. And I'm like, what's going on?
Oh god.
Just dragged me away. Like, are we good? He's like, no. He was literally under my arm. And I'm like,
Oh, no.
shit, really? Like, are you okay? What happened? He's like, I was talking, and then I felt this dude literally climb under my arm and start getting into the conversation. And and then I grabbed him.
Like, he's not a bad person. It's just, he definitely has social skill problems, and like it just comes off creepy sometimes, and you just try not to sound rude, but at the same time be like, hey, could you please back off, man? Like,
I think he also never he kept on getting Linnell and Angelo mixed up, which was always really funny to me.
yes, the two large black men.
I'm just sitting here,
They look the same.
I'm sitting here like, do they really?
I have to bring Lionel in on this one day too.
I can't wait to spill the beans about what it's like living with. I sent him a text earlier this morning. I'm like, yo, you gonna be at the apartment? He's like, I don't know, maybe. Why? I'm like, because I'm about to wage war with some bugs. You might want to step back.
Oh no.
Because I
Wait, some bugs or thugs?
Bugs.
Okay, I was like, thugs. Damn, Chase. What have you gotten yourself into?
I told you Chase gonna be Frank Castle one day.
Stories to tell about this complex. But
Chase is going to be Frank Castle with a pet alligator.
Shut up.
Instead of canine units, it's going to be gator units.
I'm just going to throw him through a window like that one dude down in Florida. Go, Sparky! No real reason. Because his personality. Like, anyways. But I woke up this morning. What?
I said before he rips your face off.
Nah, man, Sparky. I will teach him compassion.
His name's gonna be Sparky.
It was either that or Pharrell. I thought
Pharrell.
Yeah, man, best Pokemon ever. Anyways, best starter Pokemon. I woke up this morning and I went into the kitchen. I was gonna grab a bottle of water before I headed out for work. And I turned the light on. I'm not sure what it was, but I know it had more than 4 legs and it had 2 antennas. And I'm like, all right, well, because of that, you have to die. That's just the rule. In this apartment, it's basically like Nazi-controlled Poland.
Oh
You are
God,
going to die if you do not fit our standards.
Jesus.
Like if you have more than 4 legs, 2 antennae, and a hard chitinous shell, I have to kill you. That's just the way it is. You do not fit in with this right. Get
Oh
away.
my God.
So I turn the light on, and it's 1, and I know he thinking he's slick because he doesn't move for a minute. And then I reach for the raid under my sink, and then he bolts. And then I see another one, and I fucking spray him. And I'm like, 1's never enough. They all have to die. And I'm like, I can't do this right now because I got to get to work. So I leave for work, and I text Linnell that, and I stopped by Walmart on my way home, and I bought like $50 worth of bug traps
Damn.
because I do not play around. They all have to die. That's just the way it is.
I remember when we lived in Palatine, and we constantly had like just random critters in the backyard area. Like Chase, I don't think you ever encountered a possum under the porch that we had under there, but those things were terrible, dude.
No, but I encountered a raccoon while we were living at Treehouse. He was just chilling on the steps up to the building, and I'm like, yo, someone should move him.
Yeah, didn't you get like a broomstick and like try to shoot him away?
No, I got a rock and I threw it at him, hope it would scare him, but it hit him. He looked at me like, you want to do that again? I'm like, no, sir. I closed the door, and he's like, that's what I thought. And he went back to napping. I've never been a bitch in my life. I've never felt like such a bitch before in my life. Like, this man was going to fuck me up. This fucking raccoon was going to eat me if I threw another rock at him. He was not playing games.
Oh,
God.
so one topic I did want to touch on too.
Play games.
So one topic I want to touch on too was what constitutes as maturity, because there have been people who have called me immature for a very long time for simply just having hobbies or like dead ass
You're
not
a Toys
being
R Us kid that'll never do.
Oh my God. Like, dude, it wasn't even. It's not even just the collecting. It's just pretty much. I don't know what. Okay, I don't know what it is. It's like whenever someone sees you happy, or like you're singing a song to yourself or whatever. They're like, oh, you're so immature. You don't do much, do you? I'm like, well, no, I do plenty.
To me, maturity is how you treat others, and and just how you interact with people. I feel like a level of like respect, I feel is mature. When it comes to like people's jobs and stuff, like I don't, I know some people are like, well, if you don't have a blue collar, white collar job or whatever, like people don't necessarily take you too seriously.
Yeah, I mean that's
But I don't really think that like the job you have really, shows how mature you are. I just think it's how you carry yourself that really shows what kind of mature person you are. Because there's people in their 90s and 50s and whatever who still act like little kids and whine about not being able to get something, and they're making a big fuss in a large group of people, and it's just like, wow.
I can attest to that in some degree because at my job, there used to be a guy who worked there who was, in his mid to late 50s, maybe early 60s, but he used to act like, and I'm not even kidding, he used to act like the type of person, like the type of douchebag you'd meet in high school who just lived to fuck with people because he wanted them to fight him or something. He wanted them to start some shit so he could fucking end it and be like, yeah, I'm a badass, look what I did. I used to work with this dude every day, and he used to try and pick fights with high schoolers. Like, bro, what are you fucking doing? You are almost 60 years old. What are you doing, man? That to me is crazy because he would just randomly come up and start making fun of you or talking shit. I'm like, dude, who the fuck are you? Like, I don't get this mentality you have here. Like, you're a grown ass man. you have your own house, you have your own bills, you pay all your bills on time, but for some reason you think that gives you any sort of right to try and pick a fight with a high schooler. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do, dude. He's 16 years old. Fuck. What does that prove? That prove you're a dick. That's what it proves.
Right.
Like, I don't get that mentality either. Maturity is weird. I can't really. I don't know if I could personally define it myself, because I don't think I have a whole lot of a leg to stand on. I guess really, because I mean I still buy Nerf guns and shit. So
I don't think that makes you immature. I think that just shows that you still have your interest. Like, I'm talking about people who pretty
I don't
much, will shit on someone because they're dead ass happy. You know what I mean?
Well,
right. Yeah, maybe they're just a little jealous, that
I think
you're doing well for yourself.
That's what it comes off as.
I think that what it really boils down to for me is, if you're a grown ass adult, and you pay all your bills on time, you take care of things when they need to be taken care of. You don't put things off till the last minute, and you treat people decently. I don't really know why it's anyone's business what kind of hobbies you have, like what you're doing in your spare time to relax. I don't get that like, if you play video games, you're like, I'm sorry, I'm fucking 26 years old. I pay for all my bills on time. I'll do whatever the fuck I want when I'm in my spare time. Like, I don't.
Right.
I feel like maturity like goes along with what Carter was saying, just the way you treat people and how you act. And I feel like constantly picking at what people do in their spare time, it shows a lack of maturity on your
part. It's none of your business what someone else does, as long as that's not harming them. I don't see why it should be an issue for someone else to view what your interests are, whether it's material interests, your relationships or whatever. Like, that's not any of that person's business to be judging you for.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find a place where you can actually openly talk about the things you're interested in, because they're like, we're all pretty relatively young still, so like our interests are mostly more modern, I'd say. The older generations around us, they'll never understand it. So it's kind of hard to like find a place where you belong, where you can actually talk about your interests with other people and not feel judged for it. It's like, it's really hard to talk about, like, liking anime when I go home and visit my family, because it's like no one else does. I imagine it's probably the same for Angelo. Like,
I've had a similar situation when, like, I hang out with at least with like my cousins on my father's side of the family, all great people, but because me and my sister, we're like, I'm 24 turning 25 this year, and like, and my sister's 4 years older than me, so like, either my other cousins are way older than that, where they're married, have kids, or I have cousins who are a lot younger who grew up in more of the 2000s era of, like, basically we started with technology kind of thing. It's very hard sometimes to, like, at least for me, because I'm somewhat of an introvert, where I'm like, all right, so what does everyone want to talk about that I'm interested in and you're also interested in, and usually we're able to find stuff, but like,
it's also, I feel like that also kind of depends on where you were raised, like where you
come
from. Because I not to continuously make this about me, but like, I grew up out in the country, so like people's interests out there are pretty narrow and limited. They never align with mine whatsoever. Like, going home and family about anything is a fucking minefield, because most of my family is pretty conservative. I'm not. So going home and talking about anything in the world, it can be a very, very, very dangerous situation.
Yeah, just leave it to movies, and then I don't
Yeah.
like that movie. Ugh, start sweating.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's like, man, I really love this movie, and my dad's like, the movie sucked. Ah,
Well, there's no more conversation here. I'm gonna go up and get a beer.
I'm gonna go hang out with the kids at the kids table because
Back at the kids' table with Chase.
Like
my
whenever,
new segment, hope land me in jail.
like whenever I hang
26-year-old
out.
man sitting.
Wait, say again.
I said, is that a 26-year-old man sitting at the kids table?
Like whenever I hang out with, whenever I hang out with anybody, and Will brings this up, I kind of adapt to what they like, and I find like some interest in what they're talking about, and like it's kind of like a natural thing for me. So say someone can be talking about sports. As you guys know, I don't really care, but I'll do enough research to be like current with it, and like oh yeah that was kind of interesting, and this team was that, this team was this.
Man, did you see Tom Brady hit that home run at the World Series? Incredible. He did a pay from the goal. And then LeBron James was doing a Fortnite dance.
Oh, no. So wait. Can football players dance now on fields, or is that still considered bad?
Well,
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's how excessive you do it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not like super into sports myself. Like I haven't watched football since high school. But yeah, I do think it's like you can do a little dance, but like if it's excessive, then I think there's an issue with that.
they kind of lessened the restrictions on that back, I think, in the 2017 to 2018 football season, because they would allow the players to celebrate a little more, kind of have a little bit more fun on the field. But I think they're putting more restrictions back on that this year, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I personally don't really have that big of a deal. I think it becomes a problem when they start taunting the other players. That's when you get involved and say, all right.
Right.
Yeah.
If they're flipping the other players off or just like, suck these nuts, and it's just kind of like, all right, sir, let's try to be mature here. We're at a football game.
Yeah, they have like kicks there and shit. This kind of brings me up to wrestling again. And
here we go.
And Carter's out.
Now I'm gonna pretend.
Cause like a lot of wrestlers at one point were football players or went on to play football, and it's like it's just kind of weird how they kind of just like mold into it like from either side, like Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. Like they weren't famous in football, but when they came back into wrestling, they kind of just blew up,
Right. Well, it's the wrestling in that of itself is a much more different. What is that? Different cup of water, I guess you could say. Really, in professional sports like football, just because you're big and strong does not mean you're going to be the top guy. Like you got to be able to move through that field. You got to be quick. You got to be able to think on your feet. Like you got two dudes coming at you full speed. You need to be able to get away from them, dance your way around them, juke them, outspin them, whatever the fuck you got to do. In wrestling, it's kind of like if you're the bigger guy, you just got to look tough. And then and Vince McMahon will be like, I want to have your child, but since I can't, I'm gonna make you the top guy of the company. That's kind of how it works in wrestling. Like the bigger and more muscly you are, the more likely, or at least it used to be, the more likely you are to kind of get ahead.
Yeah, and like I really don't like that. Like cause you know me, Chase. I love the indie stuff because how different it is. And like I'm just happy when indie guys get big, they can really pull on some cool stuff. Like Daniel Bryan when he won the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship. I was legit happy because like the year before I had just completely given up wrestling because like I forgot what WWE did, but it just made me like, okay, this shit's dumb now. I'm never watching again. And then Daniel Bryan had his moment because essentially I was done when CM Punk left. And then when Bryan won, I was like, oh, it's cool again. And then they turned to an evil vegan. I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. And then I came back when they did All In.
You don't understand. All vegans are evil. That's the point. That's the thing you're saying.
I'm just saying, like, I know wrestling is supposed to.
You eat plant-based products? No.
Oh gosh.
Then I'm gonna burn your house to the ground.
It's just.
Fucking vegans.
It's just with
All
WWE.
poison ivy.
It's just with WWE. They're not a quality product. They say they are, but like, show otherwise. If you know what I mean. Like, it's cool to have like just like throwaway matches. That's fine. But when you're a whole like when you're booked like for just all throwaway matches, it's like what was the point of even watching then? Nothing happened.
Roman Reigns.
Basically.
Spear.
I'm so tired of spear.
I used to watch wrestling purely for the women, because man,
yeah, women
who's
are
attracted to women.
yeah, women are good. Women give you the sex.
Oh my God.
I
I guess this is the stupid degenerate part of the podcast, but
edit out because degenerate. I can take you to.
We get it, Chase. You like women. No. I hope Jade watches this and sticks this far around to get that.
That would be funny, Jade. If you're listening, what's up?
Oh God.
You weren't there at Keisha's going away party. I got a little bit weird at the end, towards the end.
This man was kissing every single guy.
Well, I couldn't listen. Keisha's girlfriends were there. Those girls, I couldn't do that to them.
Well, of course not. I wasn't expecting you to, but goddamn, you got super fucking handsy, and I'm just here like just trying to sip my drink, and then you pulled me closer to you, and my chair's tipping over, and I'm like, bro, if you pull me any closer, that chair's gonna fall on the ground, and I'm gonna land my ass right onto the floor, like. And then Lionel was just deflecting every kiss that you were trying to give him.
It was the time I dragged him away from the table so he couldn't. I had to do it there. When I'm drunk, I'm very happy and affectionate.
You're a happy, aggressive drunk. I think that's the best way to explain you as a drunk person.
Happy
aggressive. Yeah, no, I was getting a little all over the place. I think the funniest part is at one point in time, I literally went in for a fake, and I got Kurt off guard. Then there was a time I went to go give one to Jade, and Jade's like, "You come over here, you're kissing me on the lips." I was like, "Fucking bet." And
it was pretty saucy. Like if Michelle was there, oh boy, fan fictions would be going crazy.
No, I think Jade might have used a little bit of tongue, if I'm being honest.
Oh God, you guys went through with it?
Yeah, no, they went through with it. We saw it. We saw everything. I was like, oh boy, it's getting hot in here.
Angelo, if you were there, you would have gotten a smooch. Trust me, it would have happened. You wouldn't have been able to fight it. Drunk me is relentless.
I mean, my pepper spray says otherwise. We stop.
Me. I just use it.
Chase is like, I'm drunk. I don't feel this. Like,
no, I got. We were kind of getting loud at one point in time, and Keisha's like, "Yo, we gotta walk away from the bar." I'm like, "Why?" Because they're getting annoyed. I was like, "Oh, that's probably because of me." I think before that night, I literally said, "Let's maybe we should get a private booth so we're not bothering people too much." And Keisha's like, "Oh, we won't. You guys won't be. We won't be as bad as some of the drunks who are there every night." I'm like, "Challenge accepted."
I know it's like Keish works there, and I think it was like his boss, but it was like, "Oh yeah, Keish, if this is your going away party, do you want to have the?" Yeah, it was like a separate room all to yourselves, and I was like, "Oh, that'd be cool," like then we can be as loud as we want. And, since, COVID stuff is going on, maybe it might just be safer, who knows, whatever. But like, it's like, yeah, no, we're just going to have the table that's in the middle of the whole entire room. So when we get batshit crazy, everyone's just going to look over and be like, who is this man kissing everybody?
I said I'm glad Michelle isn't part of this at this moment, because this would be the time where she would just not stop talking about it.
Oh no, not at all.
I feel like we wouldn't get a single word in at all.
She'd be asking me what it was like. Did I feel any romance? Was there a spark between us? And I'd be like, I don't know. There was a punch to my stomach at one point.
Probably Lionel.
I can just imagine Lionel doing like some anime shit where he punches Chase's stomach so hard, Chase just passes out, throws him over his shoulders like.
Like you hear like the key blast from like Dragon Ball, where it's like the sound or whatever. Like,
say what you want, it didn't work because he still got a couple of them from me. No fear.
So speaking of anime, so to us Westerners, like we're anime characters, do you guys think that compared to like our like Western characters, Eastern characters? Okay, let me phrase that better. Okay, do you guys think that Eastern anime characters are stronger than comic book characters? So say if like the X-Men, so say if the X-Men took on like Team 7 from Naruto.
Who do you think's gonna win in a fight? Me. I don't care. I would say at least if it's X-Men versus Team 7. Okay, well, I will humor you. Is it Team 7 when they first started off, or towards the end of the Naruto series?
No, just like in general, because like I've been seeing debates where it's like comic book characters, yes, they do have powers, but they don't have set like power levels, versus anime characters where they do. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's the thing. I always hear like power levels and stuff, but like with Dragon Ball, the original thing with the power levels, Akira Toriyama was like, yeah, the whole reason why Goku was over 9,000 was basically to show like, screw power levels, those aren't important. Like, I just have the willpower to kick your ass. Like, that's like that.
Yeah.
Beat this dude's ass.
But yeah, I mean, but to humor you, I would say, they definitely like all Team 7, like including like Kakashi too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I would say if they're going up against all of the X-Men characters, maybe not, but
I don't know nothing about Naruto, so I couldn't really tell you.
I don't know. I mean, like Naruto and Sasuke are pretty, like, they have like OP powers, half the time, and then Sakura's just like super strong. So it's like,
and also super useless, from what I've heard.
Well, I mean, her strength is different from her character development in the story, but but yeah.
Never watched or read or consumed any media regarding Naruto, but my general consensus is that I've heard is like, oh, Naruto, Sasuke, great. Sakura, fuck her, she's useless. Just like,
it basically became Sam and Frodo from Lord of the Rings, where like, Sasuke, Naruto, like, it's like, okay, buddy, you know what I mean? Like, we're best friends, but I don't want you to turn to the dark side. Like, that was basically like, I'm pretty sure there's someone out there like, don't compare Lord of the Rings to Naruto. How dare you? It's just like, I mean, their characters were kind of like that though, where it was just like, I want to be you're my best friend.
So like, my hum regarding Sakura is I don't hate the character. Obviously, I haven't really watched anything hard, so I've watched a couple episodes. Didn't do anything for me, but I do feel kind of bad for her character because it's like the author really shit the bed with her as a character. Like he just did not. He wrote everyone else so well. He wrote a story that's like lasted countless years, and it's going to reach hundreds of generations. Really, it's going to be around for a long fucking time. People are always going to be talking about it as one of the greats. So clearly, he knows what he's doing, and he did a phenomenal job. It's just like with this one character, it's like.
I think her issue was he wanted to make her. Well, I don't know necessarily all the way through, but she was the one female character, a part of the group. But she just got lumped into her only, like, clearly she wants to get stronger, but whenever Sakura was on screen, it was always Sasuke notice me, Sasuke this. Like, it was more about her romantic relationship with Sasuke than her really developing as a character, which I feel like got a lot of people upset. Because, from what I remember, was like there was that whole scene in the tuning exams where she cuts her hair. And most of the time in anime, I've noticed, whenever someone cuts their hair, that's usually a sign that they are developing as a person, right? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Koichi, like, changes his hairstyle like 5 times in that. I'm trying to think of some other characters who, like, cut their hair. But with Sakura, that was like a moment where, like, oh, she's going to change, she's actually going to, stand up for herself and do something cool, but then Rock Lee steps in, and then it's like, oh, I guess, Sakura's useless again. Rock Lee's going to take care of this situation. And then I think later, towards, like, after the tuning exams, Sasuke leaves, where it's like the whole retrieve Sasuke arc, if you remember that, Angelo.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah, I remember that.
And, like, Sakura's whole thing is like, I love you, Sasuke. And then he's like, screw you. I don't care about you. I just want revenge. And then it's just, at that point, it was just like, Naruto, get Sasuke for me. I want him back. And it's like,
yeah.
I understand her, but at the same time, it just kind of felt like that's all she was just whining about Sasuke. And, like, Naruto was doing that too, but it just seemed like Naruto was actually trying to do something about it, like try to actually reach out to him, while Sakura just kind of, like, got sidelined, which, again, I felt bad for that because she's actually, like, physically a really strong character, like, but, he decided to do nothing with her. Right.
I can't think of a scenario in which there was another character in any anime that I watched where they just get the Sakura treatment. I feel like that's a very isolated incident. It's like the author was like, Naruto is like a runway model that's almost a perfect 10, but has a fucked up pinky toe, and that pinky toe is Sakura. Like,
oof.
That's it.
Oof. And then the other pinky toes, all the filler arcs that didn't need to be added to the show, but the anime was like, we need to make more money.
Isn't One Piece basically filler arc the anime? Like,
it's more of an adventure. I wouldn't like. I don't watch One Piece, but I wouldn't lump it into filler arcs. Like, I know a lot of people, like, quote, use filler arc as like, oh man, this is a filler arc, but sometimes there needs to be downtime for a show, and a quote unquote filler arc is needed. Like, I don't like, unless I only say something's a filler arc if it wasn't in the source material. So, like, with Bleach, there was like 3 or 4 seasons that weren't a part of the manga, but that was because I believe the anime caught up to the manga.
Yeah.
So then they were like, oh, hey, let's just make a bunch of random stuff. And, not everybody liked those filler arcs. And it's kind of like, oh, man, a waste of my time, like.
Sometimes, though, I kind of like those moments where like nothing really bad is happening. Like I think the one anime I can think of in particular that's like that is In Another World, my smartphone. Like it only has one season and it will never get another. But the entire season is basically just escapism, and I have no problem with that because sometimes you kind of want that. You don't want to see something
Right.
terrible. Like you kind of just want to see smooth sailing for a long fucking time. It's like
Yeah.
god dang.
And that's why I like animes that kind of, are on the border of being like those slice of life animes. Like, not necessarily the slice of life ones that take place in school, because like once you watch like one or two, you've kind of seen, most of those slice of life ones. But like, even like if it's a science fiction or fantasy story that's kind of more slice of life, you know, um, like I don't know if you would consider it a slice of life, but it's more of a fantasy action. But nothing too crazy happens in it. But uh, I forget the name. It has a long name, but Chase, you've watched it, where it's the kid from the boonies goes to like a starter town.
Suppose a kid from the last dungeon boonies moves to a starter town. Yeah, I really enjoy that show. Actually, I don't know if it'll do well enough to get a second season, but I hope it does because I just enjoy everything that happens.
It was just pure comedy. Like, even like, oh, this is going to be a serious, intense moment. But then it was like, nah, you forgot this is a comedy. So the main bad guy is just like, hey, like, I'm just going to go fuck off now.
You forgot that the main character is completely oblivious to everything around him and thinks somehow that he's weak. Are you drunk right now? What? Oh. Like, all right, calm down, Lloyd. I think another. Go ahead.
So, fellas, do you guys have anything you want to promote?
I don't know. I don't know, honestly.
Well,
I can.
you could always follow me on Twitter at YoPenguinBuddy. Other than that, I don't know anything to promote really.
You are working on that website, though, right?
Yeah, I haven't started it yet, so I wouldn't necessarily promote it right now. But yeah, I'm trying to work on a webtoons.
I'm trying to write again.
You guys want to tell me? You guys want to tell the audience what your story's about?
Not yet, because I'm still fleshing it out. So not until I have more developed will I probably start promoting it. But
it's a super secret.
It is a secret.
Actually,
it's at Area 51 right now.
hanging out with I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm mostly just conceptualizing and trying to figure out where I want to go with something I'm working on. I don't even have a working title for it yet, to be honest with you. I just have a concept.
Yeah, it comes to you. It's like you try to come up with a cool name for like a title, but then it's always
I'm about to start doing what like anime's recently been doing. It's like, suppose
a super long name.
Yeah, for no fucking reason. Did I say reason? Holy shit! I swear I haven't had any drink tonight, officer.
We'll see about
That'll
that.
be the next.
In another world, I haven't had another drink, officer. There's your anime.
Next idea.
So,
the next podcast I'm a part of, I'm gonna get shit faced.
I mean, the next one is tomorrow.
There you go.
With a very special guest. So if you guys want to come in on that one, you can.
I mean, I don't mind it.
Nice. Like I did want to tell you guys something that I'm working on, but I might save that for tomorrow. Like on this one, we're going to wrap up for a little bit. If you guys want to, let me know, because you'll come in tomorrow, because we're having a old friend come in and shoot the shit with us.
Is this old friend from the Illytown days?
Yes.
That's a secret.
Yeah, it's a complete secret. You'll never guess who it
It's
is.
It's also locked up in Area 51.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm really never gonna guess
It's
who
his
it is.
mom. No, I'm just kidding.
Mom.
Correction,
It's
Carter.
your
Your
mom.
mom.
Nani? Mom shows up. Oh man.
Well, let me
I guess Michelle was telling the truth. She actually has my mom's number, and
as mom. Okay.
I think she has
What
every
scares the
friend.
shit out of me.
I think she has every one of our friends' moms' numbers.
I don't know.
yeah, Michelle's weird like that, but we love her.
Carter and I used to joke. I remember that day, Angelo, you added Jasmine to our group chat, and she got really upset. She made the family chat. Was immediately texting me. He's like, "Dude, I don't know what just happened. Michelle's really upset." I'm like, okay, what's wrong?" Oh, Angelo added Jasmine to the group chat. She's like, "That's not cool. We're the family chat." I'm like, oh no.
It's like it has to be the four of us. It's like when Michelle was talking about, which she's not here to defend herself, but like with our whole family photos that we take every year for Christmas. Michelle has stated to both me and Chase multiple times that whenever we have girlfriends, they will not be a part of the family photo until Michelle knows for sure that it's going to be a long-lasting relationship, because she's not about to have one girl in one family photo and then it's a breakup and then another girl's in a family photo.
Here's the thing. Like when Michelle, like where she says stuff like that, I'm like, okay, we're not in a high school drama. This isn't one of those romantic comedies. This is real life. Not everyone goes through that.
The Torah. Yeah, right.
Because
I
realistically speaking, I think you guys would literally just find the one that you guys like bond the most. Not bond, but the lady, whoever you guys will end up with. The person you fall for, I think you guys will have a legit bond, and then like it won't be some bullshit where it's like, you said my name was Samantha. Yeah, my name is Samantha
Not
with an
Samantha.
X.
With an X? Hold up.
Hold on. Now, I remember telling Carter, I was joking around, but this actually does seem like a possibility at times. I was like, dude, it's going to be weird to try and bring a girl to meet Michelle because she's going to go through like their whole entire life history. I'm going to wake up one night. She's not going to be laying next to me in bed. She's going to be seeing Michelle standing in the door with blood on a knife saying, she had a parking ticket. Had. And that's like the end of my fucking romance life, I swear.
Yeah,
Michelle out here like, nah.
Yeah, honestly, I told her like to chill out with that. Like a lot of like, pretty much putting you guys on blast with your love lives. I'm like, you need to stop that.
Do you remember that day Jacob and Nikki were hanging out with us?
Oh, and she went on that whole tangent, that ugly niggas.
That whole tangent.
She left, came back 5 minutes later at the door, pretty much kicked out. It's like, and another thing, and I'm like, oh no.
And what was funny was even after that, she calls me when both you and her get in the car, and she's like, "That goes for you too, Carter." And I was like, "Okay, love you," and then I hung up.
Sometimes
we're just like, all right.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta hang up.
Afraid to. It's like, what if she starts spamming my phone? I'm like, I can't ignore all this.
That's happened to me before, and Michelle got very upset with me when I wasn't answering, and I was like, today I really didn't like that day. I really didn't want to like talk to anybody. Like it was just kind of one of those, Carter's just chilling by himself, wants to stay with his thoughts, and then like Michelle, I think it was like Michelle wanted to video call me so I could watch whatever anime that you and her were watching, Angelo. And I was like, that sounds dumb. Like, I'm not about to be on a video chat where you're holding a phone, you know, shaking the camera, trying to hold it straight, like pointing at the TV. I'm like, I can't. This seems very bootleg right now, bro.
She did. Wait. When did she do this? Wait a minute.
You don't remember that? You guys were like watching some cooking anime or something like that, and
yeah, she has us watching.
she called.
Whatchamacallit, the cooking school or whatever.
Yeah, and like she called me, and I was like, oh, and then I hung up, and then she called me like 5 more times, and I was either not answering or I was hanging up, and then she like was like, you don't love me, and I was like, I guess I don't, and then I just like was like, I'm not having it, and then but like the next day when you called me, I was like, oh, how's it going, and Michelle was like, who are you talking to, Angelo? And then I was like, oh, I'm talking to Carter, and she was like, who's that? And I was like, oh, she's mad.
Like here's the thing: whenever she gets in like that petty crap, I'm like, oh, okay. And like here's the thing: I told her that was a dumb idea. It's like no one wants to do that.
Why would you do that?
I mean, it was funny, but so I do appreciate that you guys call though.
And I know she's gonna watch this eventually. Just know we still love you. It's just chill.
Please don't.
Next podcast, Michelle comes on. I'm a roast your ass.
Okay.
Which I also have to just put that out there. Yeah, my Twitter handle is Yo Penguin Buddy, not Pimpin' Penguin. I don't know where you and Will got that from the first podcast, but
Okay, so here's what I think it came from. I think it came from your Xbox gamer tag, Yo Mr. Cheap Pimpin', and your email, Penguin Buddy. And for some reason, Angelo and Will were just like, fuck it, they're one. And that was from
they just merged it together. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I was like, wait a minute, it was Pimpin' Penguin Buddy something.
I was kind of hella mad that
Peter Pipo Pickle Pepper.
Angelo and Will are talking about my supposed addiction to Mountain Dew, and Will's like, I don't know how this man's kidneys don't work. And I remember yelling at my computer, like,
it's a really bad addiction.
Oh yeah.
Shut up, Carter. It's not. I remember yelling at my computer, like, you mother. Oh, wait a minute. They can't hear me. How am I going to defend myself?
Yeah, I can't defend myself in this. Comes on to the next podcast. I know this is a new podcast, but
allow me to take this moment to defend myself right here and now and dispute some of Angela's ill fucking claims. One, no point in time was the fridge ever completely stocked with Mountain Dew.
Oh,
there might have been a 12-pack.
Yeah, there was Mountain Dew and Corona. Just get that right. There was Corona in there too. No water, just Mountain Dew and Corona.
I had fucking water. Anyways, proceeding onward, it was like a 12-pack at best, at usual. And the picture Will is referring to is the first time I found that special fucking Mountain Dew that I actually am addicted to, fucking down in Iberia, Missouri. I had to drive all the way out to middle of fucking nowhere where banjos are playing, and I hear people talking about having a pretty mouth just to fucking find it. Oh, and I was like, oh shit, this is epic. This is really exciting. And now apparently, according to Will, my kidneys don't work, which is probably true. I don't know anymore.
It's probably acid. That's probably why it's banned in like every state, but Missouri.
One of these days, I'm gonna find the motherfucker who's hiding it, and I'm gonna bust his goddamn kneecaps. Like, this bitch used to be able to find it almost anywhere, and now I can't. My dad's teasing me. He says, "Oh, they got it down here all the time." I'm like, I need to see a picture of this to prove it, and he hasn't sent me one, so I think he's bullshitting me.
Or is really there. He's like, yeah, come out and find out.
Yeah, though they've been trying to get me to go down to Tennessee for a while now, and I'm like, yeah, when my car is 100%, then I'll think about it. Oh. Like, I just recently dropped $1,000 on my whole front suspension. That was lovely. Kill me. Also, I would also like to point out the fact that Will did not remember my name, but only remembered my Illytown character. I'm a little mad. What the fuck?
Will's not here to defend himself.
want Will back on this podcast. He didn't even talk about this. How did he forget my goddamn name?
Chase, this is salty chase hours.
Yes, salty chase hour. I'm being accused of being addicted to something when it isn't true, and no one can remember my goddamn name. There was also some other shit you were saying that day that had me like, oh, you motherfucker. I'm so mad. I can't remember that.
It's probably good.
So I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna get on the whole L Town thing really quick because you know what? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm in. Let's do it.
With L Town, it could have been good. It could have been.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good learning experience.
It was, but it's like. Okay, this has been said a billion times over and over again. We should have been shorts. We should have went with the whole book thing, and Jacob should have just been the producer.
Well, no,
he should have just been the producer.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of things that could have been done better, but what I just took from it was a good learning experience of how to work with a team of animators and just creative minds.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really had many of those, when we were in college. Probably like, one or two group sessions with, other classmates. But, it was really fun. But yeah, all of our mindsets were in different places. Sometimes we would agree on stuff, but then, as a team, we just weren't. We were all just we weren't directed well. We didn't know where we wanted to go, and then when we did want it, and when we did think we knew where we were going, we just kind of slacked off sometimes. I'm at fault too. Like,
oh, we're really.
Yeah,
the creative process was probably fun.
It was. And
the creative process was probably the fun part about it. It was like, oh, we get to create all these episodes, but then we didn't really realize how long are these episodes going to be, because we're only like what? There was like 5 of us were actually animators, probably, or I don't know. I don't remember. What was there, like 10 or 12 of us in that whole group? But like, it was very hard because like. Some people wanted to do, our director wanted us to, do it like an anime. And like, I thought that would have been really cool because I like traditional 2D animation. But I know some of us were like, no, it would be a lot easier if we just do puppet animation. And I definitely was someone who was against that, because like, I don't think puppet animation really looks nice. But to be honest, since we were starting off, we probably should have just done it the most simplest way possible to at least get ourselves out there. Because I think the biggest issue with a lot of, upcoming artists and, just like a lesson to learn for everyone is like the best way to get heard is to put yourself out there, show your artwork, no matter how small it is. If you have a great story idea, again, like me and you, Chase, we have good story ideas, but like we need to get them out there, So, instead of just sitting on it and like, oh, it could be better, and it's like, yeah, it could be better, but no, not saying to rush your work, but there definitely was a lot of moments working on that team where. We kept on going back to, page 1 and being like, oh, we got to start over because maybe this would be better. But honestly, maybe we shouldn't have done that. I don't know. It was a learning experience, but I think that's as much as I'll say. But yeah, sorry to keep cutting you off, Chase.
I'm developing a complex.
Okay.
It was a lot of it was we just everyone worked on a different wavelength. Like Jacob, I think Will touched upon it last week. Jacob was a music guy.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, I think music production is a hell of a lot quicker than animation. So like when you got a guy who's used to doing things at a certain speed, trying to like get people to do something who are used to a different speed, nothing's
Right.
gonna be well. Like in terms of like episode length, I was always in favor of like the between 5 and 10 minutes. I always thought that was a pretty decent length for us to tell a little bit of a story. And I also like the idea of having like a 4 episode arc and then the fifth episode just be kind of like a goofy filler episode, like, oh, you know, shenanigans going on over here, and then we would move on to the next. And I really love the idea of there being an overarching plot between every single arc, but that was something that we could never really connect and get together too well. I remember the first script I wrote for that episode. It actually made me laugh as I was writing it, and it was a lot of fun because I actually really enjoyed bringing these characters, like giving them personalities and making kind of just act out things in their own unique ways and trying to make them different in every single possible way. It was kind of a challenge because I kept on putting my character Hunter at the front of a lot of shit, and I knew I had to stop doing that. So I had to really work hard to kind of remove him from some of
Yeah.
the equation.
Give me a
I
second.
remember though one of the funnier ones I ever wrote. Sorry, Angelo, I'll let you get finished in a second. One of the funniest lines I ever wrote was the end of one episode, and it was when Cookie was introduced, and Cookie does not talk to anyone except BT and Jacob. And at the very end of the episode,
Hey, you guys, give me
Herm,
like.
Angelo's,
Hey, you guys, give me like a few seconds. Continue the conversation.
uh, Angelo's character Herm, what he did was he would just lean into your character Carter and be like, "Yo, you think Cookie want me?" And then the episode would end with your character
Right.
just looking like, "Bro." And I remember everyone thought that was hysterical, and it was one of my favorite things about writing was just making everybody laugh with how goofy these characters be.
Right.
It's something I definitely want to go back to. I know Linnell has expressed interest in trying to do it again, but I don't know if we could ever get Jacob to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Or,
Well,
you know,
I would say again, we would probably have to start over from like at least a little bit, where we just create a
Yeah.
new group of characters in a way, because like you said, when you were trying to write the scripts, you were trying not to make the character that was kind of based off of you in the forefront. But that's kind of the hard thing, is like
Yeah.
when every creative mind was having a character of themselves in the story, it was kind of hard to have oh well, this is me, but it's like, well, it's not supposed to be you. But we definitely all had those moments where it was like, but I wouldn't sound like that. But then it's like, well, this is a character, it's not supposed to be you.
Yeah, I definitely didn't mind us all kind of putting a little bit of ourselves in the characters we were going to end up voicing. To me, it made it seem more personal. It made it like not in both good ways and bad, but for like the good, it just made me feel more invested in my character. Like I really wanted him to interact with everybody in this way, and I wanted him to grow along with all these other characters. I wanted him to, have his own moments where he stood out on his own. And I also wanted him to have moments where he was a supporting character, like helping elevate someone else up to their next level. I wanted to really be that, wanted it to really be like that. And it was disappointing for me when unfortunately it just never came into fruition. Fruition? Word, I don't know.
Error.exe. Yeah, no. Yeah, you said it right. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. My favorite characters were always the bit characters we came up with. That's like with anything, like, like going off of, like with like Scooby-Doo, you always end up liking, Scooby and Shaggy more because, like, even though they're main characters, they act more like they're bit characters because they're just so dumb, I mean, Shaggy's smart, but he hides it with his ultra instinct.
Yeah,
doesn't want anyone to know that he's a Saiyan. But yeah.
I think one of the best things you ever pitched was how the characters would interact with one another, like how we interact with one another. And I remember Linnell saying, like, well, the way I'd interact with Hunter is pretty much like, listen, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And I remember just laughing because he's like, well, expect this from Herm, but not you. It had me in tears. I was like, that's actually like Herm and Hunter were supposed to be like the shit posters of the group, and I was all aboard that action. I wanted that train to go to depart, but unfortunately, it all just kind of fell apart in general.
Yeah,
I think it fell apart mostly at Shy and Dally's portfolio show, where Jacob tried to gather everybody up. It's like, yo, this is really not the best time for this, man. And
yeah. Well, it was just slowly falling apart, is just because I think a part of it was that we were also just graduating, and like realizing just our own personal, like whether you have a family or whatever's going on in your life, where it's like, kind of hard to juggle this.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was also everyone was just kind of done with the unnecessary stress. Like no one was getting paid to be there. There was no incentive for anyone,
Right.
other than potentially launching our careers into the art world based around this show, and potentially being the next Rooster Teeth or some shit. Like I remember throwing that out there once or twice, maybe 24 times. But
I know you love Rooster Teeth. Yeah. I know it's definitely a good example though of like a group of people, and that's with anything, like even Steve Jobs or like all those people where it's like, oh, we just started doing stuff in our basement or whatever, and then hey, look at us now. It's always the underdog story. And yeah, I hope that for all of my friends that I've met, I hope they're doing good. Even the people I haven't talked to in a while.
Right. That's the same. I'm hoping everyone's doing all right, but I really can't tell anymore.
Yeah.
It's definitely something one of these days down the road. I definitely want to try and do that with everybody again. But it's also another thing where I'm like, I don't know if anyone would have that same interest. I know Linnell has expressed interest. I know Angelo and Will both did. As for Jasmine, I'm not 100% sure. RJ, maybe, if he were ever really down to do it. I know he said he's down to collaborate with us every now and then.
I mean, hey, if you need some voice talent, RJ's the guy.
RJ, in the few moments where we actually had to record dialogue, RJ ripped his apart and kicked its ass. Like he really, really put his whole body, his heart, body, and soul into voicing the principal. I thought that was incredible. Like he went all out for it. And I'm like, God damn, this man could have a career as a VO artist.
Yeah. Just speaking about collaborating stuff, like there was like a while ago, where we were like just drawing like really bad character. Well, I was, but Angelo was kind of doing it too. But like where it was just like the bad caricatures of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that would be fun to animate that. Obviously we don't have to use our names. We could just make the characters as like random people. But like I always thought that would be just a fun kind of more like an Adult Swim kind of show where like this isn't serious at all. This is pretty stupid, but like it's the jokes that we love.
Yeah, like Psychopebbles, like what he does with his friends and whatever.
Yeah.
I remember, I think at one point you talked about, Carter, taking some of the funnier moments from like, a podcast and animating them, kind of like they do with RT animated shorts. Because we all have a lot of funny stories to tell, and it would just be kind of funny to see them animated, just see how them acted out. Like I got a couple involving some dudes I work with And like one guy, he refuses to let anyone like slap him on the ass, even his girlfriend, because he's afraid it might make him gay. And to me,
no.
that's just really.
He's on some Alex Jones.
I know, right?
The frogs in the water.
Wouldn't carry a couch with me if he thought I was gay. I'm like, why? He can't fuck you through the couch, dude, and you're not gonna gay by touching something a gay man touched. He's like, I don't know, man. Trust it. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Still never understood that, But hey, toxic masculinity.
The very same guy who said he wouldn't let his girl slap him on the ass, he's afraid he might like it and that might make him gay, is also the same dude who slapped that one guy Jerry on the ass. I told you that story.
Oh.
I don't know if I told you, Angelo, but basically what happened is we were on an unload, or we were on a job, and they came to help us load, and the one guy jumped up there at the end of it and just randomly ran up to Jerry, and I mean, he went around the world. He went so far back. He pulled his arm back. I could have swore he tapped the other side of his head with his knuckles and just let loose the meatiest sounding slap I have ever heard in my life. Like just that sound, just power and meat. It's just all I could think about. And he's just like, man, I wasn't expecting that. And he looks around and goes, Jerry got a badass. And then he just leaves. I was laughing so hard I couldn't move. And then another guy runs up to Jerry and slaps him on the ass too and jumps off the truck. And I'm like, you guys can finish the job without me because I can't breathe. I'm dying. Later on in the day, those other guys were moving these people. And I'm not going to lie, they were some really big girls. And these two dudes, they just start singing this song by, I think, what is it, Mike or Marcus Epps, called Where the Big Girls At? And they were walking by and doing this stupid-ass dance in the truck, where the big girls at? Where the big girls at? And I'm like, y'all gotta fucking stop. You're bogus as all hell. I can't deal with you right now. And I fell on the ground and started laughing, and then they were just like, no, wait, here's an even better one. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
And how do they still have their jobs? Beats me. No.
We don't fucking say this shit to the customers' faces. We say some mean shit when they're not around, though. Just the whole that fucking slap.
So what's the time, Angelo?
That slap was hurt.
We have been on here for about 2 hours and 51 minutes.
Oh.
All right, so that's going on 3 hours. Have fun editing that, Angelo.
If I edit it.
Oh, there's definitely some. I just like the idea that Angelo's sitting there laughing. You think I edit these? Just
like honestly, I'm honestly editing the first episode still. Like I don't get what I'm doing wrong, but now it's saying the video file's too large, and like I've been compressing it for about a week.
Maybe you ought to talk to Archer. They might have some experience cutting and clipping audio, so he might be able to help.
The only way I can think of is After Effects.
That's it. That was the only way I could think of. Like, I'm not bad at After Effects. I can try and help you out with this, but I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, God.
I don't even know if I Effects on my laptop, but if I did, if you wanted to try and send me that file, I would do what I could to try and get it to work.
All right, I'll try and send it through email. If the email accepts it.
You can try. I'll see if I can maybe edit it in After Effects. I don't have like a media encoder, so.
Oh boy. It's a Filmora file too, so I think you would need Filmora.
Oh, balls! I don't have Filmora. I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you.
It's an editing software. It gives you like a bunch of options. And like it's really easy to use. It's just like there's something I'm doing wrong, and I'm just not sure what. Like honestly, after
who's gonna do
that? Right? He just spoiled it. He just spoiled it, everyone. He just spoiled it. The best thing he'd have to do is just edit this out. But if he doesn't edit this out, Angelo just spoiled his own next guest.
I mean,
It's one surprise.
this isn't getting uploaded until tomorrow, so there's time.
What a fuck! Yeah, I already know who it is. The damage has been done. Carter and I know who's
Yeah,
going to be.
we know who it is. And if you keep this in the audio file, then everyone watching knows who it is too.
Damn it,
Like
you've
you've literally opened Pandora's box. There is no closing. The cat's out of the bag. You've done it again. I can't believe you've done it.
My own brilliance once again shows itself.
Bro, sit down with that shit.
Whack.
All
right. So
well, since we've been going on for it's almost 10 o'clock over here.
oh yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock
What do you mean
here.
over here? It's 9:30 here.
Where the fuck?
Well, I don't know where you live, Chase.
I live.
It's 9:57. 9:57 by me.
Nah, man.
Chase lives in Bumblefuck, bro.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like I do have to do some editing tonight. Fuck me.
Yeah, you fucking did.
All right. Well, you can leave this part in. It was nice that you brought us on. Enjoyed talking to you, Angelo.
Enjoy talking to you too, Carter.
Same.
And obviously, Chase, it's always good to have you out here, being your chasiest.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I thought of it. I said it. And I kind
And
of
we're
regret
keeping it in. Woo!
Oh, God. Did he just hang up?
Well then, Chase left. All right.
All right.
Peace
All
out,
right.
my dude.
All right, peace out. All right, guys, this has been the Chameleon Podcast, and we're signing off. You guys have a great night, okay?